most of my problems with how this movie looks is about the movement. It's about the
Yes,
animation part
yes.
itself, not necessarily the character design. Although I don't really like the character design for the main character.
He makes all these stupid decisions, and he still wins.
I was at least expecting it to maybe look really cool.
Yeah.
And it just didn't. It really didn't.
This movie could be so much shorter.
But there was, I think, one part. I think it was the part towards the end. There was like one sword fight. It was like, I think, 10 seconds long, like ish, where they were sword fighting. And I was like, oh, that actually looks really good.
We're an hour and a half into the film, Seth's like, oh, 10 seconds of quality. Oh. Speaking of really good, today we, on Save the Script here,
You're not going to let Seth do the intro?
Oh, Seth, you can do the
I wasn't going to do the intro. I was joking. Hello, everybody. I'm not actually an official part of the podcast, but I guess I'm doing the intro today. My name is Seth. And this is, this guy over here, if you want to introduce
so my name, the host of the show, one of the hosts, Baby Giraffe.
The guy who should be doing the intro.
Yeah, yes, I'm Baby Giraffe.
And we also have another guy here.
Hi. I'm H&M.
Yeah.
How's it going?
The second host of the show.
Yeah. Those are the guys who should have done the intro.
Seth here is our first returning guest on our podcast.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're the only returning guest. He has done the Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings review with us. So if you're interested in that, check that one out right after this one. Today we are going to be talking about another Lord of the Rings project, War of the Rohirrim.
Okay.
Hey, nothing you laugh about, guys, okay? This movie was serious. It was an anime.
It was an anime?
You guys take anime seriously, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
hear they're much more mature than Western cartoons.
Yeah.
That's what they
Silly
always
stuff
tell
like
me.
Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
Oh, who even watches that?
Garbage.
Puss in Boots Last Wish. Oh.
Garbage.
Oh.
Come on.
No,
There's
you
no
should
blood
be
in that. Oh wait, no.
oh wait, there is. Never mind.
Wait a second.
Yeah, you should spend your time just watching stuff like this. Definitely.
So overall, Phil, what do you guys think? Good,
my
bad?
impression coming out of the theater was extreme boredom.
Boredom. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think it was exciting.
Mm-hmm. I feel you.
Yeah,
I get it.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Like even the fights, like they didn't really do much for me because they didn't like they didn't feel like they had much substance to them because I didn't know what was going on.
Okay, I was kind of the opposite. There was a lot being thrown at me, and it just seemed like everything. I just, wow, that's such an interesting idea, and then they would hit me with something else, be like, wow, that's actually ridiculous. Why is this happening? And then they wouldn't explain it, and then something else would happen, and it was just a constant loop of my mind was like, why is this character doing this? And then, like, please explain this, and they don't, and then another thing would happen. And it was
even the very
that.
first scene where she pulls out like that giant turkey leg.
There are some really random parts to the film.
What is she doing?
I gotta tell you, that meat thing, that the bone in meat is like a really common thing in anime. Like, it's shocking how common that comes up. It's just
really?
It's just like a big glob of meat on the end of a bone. That's really common. Like,
is that what they were trying to do?
I think so.
Oh my, okay. So I haven't seen that much anime. The anime I've seen have been like Studio Ghibli films.
Yeah.
So were there a lot of anime tropes in this movie?
This is actually something interesting. This is the first full-length thing I've ever seen that is anime.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
There are better things to watch.
Well, I know there
are. This has a lot of the worst of anime, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think even without knowing what, like, even without...
Seth's like, I don't know anything about anime. This one is the worst.
I can actually almost even guess what you're talking about. Is it the visuals?
Yeah, to a degree. I've seen worse visually. But...
Do you guys want to talk about the animation? What do you guys think?
There were parts I liked, parts I didn't like.
To be honest, a lot of the frames where I'm looking at these people moving around, I'm thinking, man, it actually does look better if they don't move as much. If they focus more on their faces and mouths moving, I would
Yeah.
like it better. But because of how much the people were moving, they move way more than they have in the other animes stuff that I've seen,
Yeah.
and it looks really jarring.
There was
Just personally, me coming from a person who wants to watch my characters move and act, but they were moving really odd.
It was
really odd.
It was like an overacting sort of thing. Like it's kind of the equivalent of that for anime, right?
Okay.
Like they're doing too much. They're doing movements that are unnatural. They're too big. They're just not right. Instead of doing more subtle motions that you would see in a lot of Western stuff, where the budget is more evenly applied.
Yeah, there was a few scenes specifically where I do agree with you. Like definitely, it was just over too much.
Yeah.
So much so you didn't even know what was going on. Specifically that scene with the elephant. That whole thing was just visually, I was dizzy.
Yeah.
Well, there were some parts where I'm like, okay, why are we looking at this right now?
Yeah.
My brain does not know what to do.
But there was, I think, one part, I think it was the part towards the end, there was like one sword fight. It was like, I think 10 seconds long, like ish, where they were sword fighting. And I was like, oh, that actually looks really good. And like, no, I'm serious. Like it, to me, like, it didn't look as messy as the rest of it.
We're an hour and a half into the film, Seth's like, oh, 10 seconds of quality. Oh, whoa.
No, like, what I'm talking about specifically, like, big
the fights,
dramatic
right.
Yeah. But you know what I mean.
I think this film looks pretty bad.
I think they could have done way better.
I think there are a lot of times where the environments are mostly CGI. Some of them are painted, but most of them are CGI, and they're not really integrated very well with the characters. Like the characters,
when people roll on the ground, like
even some of the horse riding scenes, which there are a lot of, so it's not good. But a lot of them, it doesn't look like the horses, like where the horses' feet are falling, doesn't look right.
No,
it doesn't really match where the geometry is or something. It just looks off. It doesn't look like the characters are actually in that environment.
I think I know what you're talking
and
about.
There's a lot of weird things with the direction for like how the camera, what shots are used and stuff.
Yes.
Like,
oh my god.
There's some spinning, there's a lot of weird, there's one shot where there's a weird panning like over like a still background where the camera's like
it's in the swamp.
Yeah.
They pan slowly, they pause, and then it
pan
slowly.
Three or four times.
And then they use that same shot like 5 or 6 times in a row, like that same sort of technique, and only like 2 of those are like, okay, I get what you're doing here, that's fine, you can do that.
Yeah, like one of them was like somebody looking through a telescope, and like it was like, okay,
it was like, that's fine, that is the kind of shot you evoke to get the idea of like someone looking around.
Well, you're in a character's perspective. That's interesting,
right?
Which
opposed to just you're just looking around at scenery.
Which they don't have telescopes in Tolkien's world, but that's
okay. Yeah. So I don't know a lot about Tolkien stuff, but from my opinion, don't watch this movie. Don't watch it. It was bad.
Not. I don't recommend.
War of the Rohirrim is very bad.
I'm not gonna go as far as to say that like, oh, like, never watch this movie, but I highly would not recommend it. Like, if you like Lord of the Rings, if you like Tolkien's works and stuff, you're not gonna enjoy this movie.
Yeah, go watch Rings of Power. That's what you told me beforehand, right?
Ralph Bakshi's got you.
Exactly what I told you. Yes.
No, it's Ralph Bakshi. That's what you said, right? Yeah. Yeah,
Watch
Ralph.
Okay.
You should go watch. You should go back to Save the Scripts video about Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, and you'll see that we highly recommend that.
So I will say, I might even put the clip in here. Last time we had you on, at the very end, you said, next time you guys should watch something that's actually good. And so, was this?
Well, hey,
that was my favorite clip of that episode.
To be fair, we did watch something actually good. Seth just wasn't here for it, though.
Yeah.
So we have watched good things, but we haven't invited Seth to...
No, actually, you did invite me to something recently, but I wasn't able to come, unfortunately.
That's true.
Yeah, that was sad, but
anyway. So here we are. So now my question is, was this better than Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings?
Yes, in a way.
I would say yes.
Okay.
Unapologetically. Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings is unwatchable.
Okay. We gotta clarify. half of Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings is unwatchable. The second half is unwatchable. The first half is gold. It is coming gold. I tell you,
Gold of a different color.
It is. It is one of the funniest bad movies in the first half.
And then the second half is not even. It's not worth watching.
No.
You just can't.
No.
Oh.
Except for that, like, 1 second shot of Legolas shooting that arrow.
Yeah.
Like 1 second in the second half.
Yeah, in the second half, it's just things are not even funny anymore. But is this
Except
movie...
for the part... Except there is one part, and actually there was something almost kind of like this in this movie.
There were I think like 2 shots that reminded me of Ralph Bakshi.
There were 2 shots that reminded me of Ralph Bakshi's.
Where they're running towards the
the
orcs.
Yeah. They're not even orcs.
They're not even orcs. They're just soldiers.
But they look kind of similar. Like
because they didn't rotoscope it in the
Yeah.
Bakshi's version. They just put like an Instagram filter over it.
Yeah. I would say this movie is better than Ralph Bakshi's second half, but not as good as his first half. The first half is really funny bad. The highs are the highs of the lows are higher in Ralph Bakshi's, but the lows of the lows are lower in Ralph Bakshi's as well. So
also, I would have actually preferred like if you're gonna take an animated approach to Lord of the Rings, I would have rather you not do anime and just do like regular animation, just some kind of other animation,
like a 3D animation.
Yeah, okay. CGI or
I actually like. I don't really know much about animation. I just don't think anime really is for Middle Earth.
Okay.
When I first heard the announcement this was going to be an anime, I honestly got super excited. I thought it was going to be super cool.
I'm not saying it could never work.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't have anything against anime as a style. So, like, I've never seen anything anime that's good for Lord of the Rings. So, I just don't feel like anime is good for Lord of the Rings for some reason.
Anime has a lot of limitations, for sure.
Yeah.
And Lord of the Rings is like, it's such a Western franchise.
I know,
too.
that's why it feels weird.
Yeah.
So it's because it doesn't feel...
Because, that was one of Tolkien's goals with it, too, was to create, like, a myth for England,
Well, for the Western people.
So it's like, it's kind of weird to go anime for that. Not necessarily wrong, not necessarily bad, but just like...
Yeah, I mean, there were actually...
It's kind of an odd choice.
Personally, I thought the most of the characters looked really good. It was the movements that really did not look good.
I thought Helm Hammerhand looked really cool.
I thought he looked really cool. His
son,
his second son. I'm like, man, I know this guy's probably gonna die. I don't know, but man, I want to see a lot of him.
Most of my problems with how this movie looks is about the movement. It's about the animation part itself, not necessarily the character design. Although I don't really like the character design for the main character.
Really? Okay.
I'm not crazy about the way a lot of girls are drawn in anime. I just don't. I think their eyes are like a little too big for me or something.
I thought it was pretty good personally.
I didn't have any.
Thought her armor was cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
The bride dress?
No.
Okay.
We will talk about that later. Okay. That is a big no. That was a not good one. I would have pumped the brakes on that decision.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I don't recommend War of the Rohirrim. It doesn't look very good. The characters are pretty stupid, and I was not invested at all. Yeah. Go ahead and skip this one. If you like anime, I'm sure you can find a better one to watch than this.
Demon Slayer's coming out.
Slayer's coming out. That's pretty popular. I don't know if it's any good, but it's popular. You can always go back and watch Pokemon.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
That's peak.
Highly recommend that show.
You can always watch that. You can always watch Studio Ghibli,
Boy and the Heron, highly recommend for me.
Go back and watch Spirited Away. That looks really good. It's very pretty movie.
It's a little odd, but it looks really good.
It's very pretty. So, yeah, I would recommend not watching this. Don't watch War of the Rohirrim. Don't spend your money on this.
We just did. We just spent lots of money on this.
Like $5, but
I know.
a piece.
Yeah. For me, that's a lot.
We're part of the problem. We're feeding into the.
Don't be like us. Be
But
better.
then
I want Warner Brothers to come out and be like, "Well, we literally made $18 this last week."
I mean, there were not a lot of people in theater. It was like what, maybe like 10 others.
Yeah.
besides us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just also just came out.
Yeah, it's opening weekend. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there were like
And this
10
is a
people
Sunday.
10 people in the theater opening weekend.
Yeah.
It was an afternoon showing, but still, like,
Maybe none of them wanted to go to the cheaper one. Maybe they all wanted to go to the
Yeah,
more expensive
maybe
one.
maybe they all wanted to go to the one that's later. I don't know, man. It's the weekend. Why would you go later when it's cheaper to go earlier?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything
Got
else you
some
guys
other-
want to talk about before we get into spoilers?
Nah, we need to get into this thing.
Unanimously, don't recommend.
Yeah.
Bad movie, don't recommend.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
If I were to give it a score, I would give it 0 recommends.
I would give it 0 recommends. Out of 1 recommends, I give it 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get to spoilers.
All right.
I hate this film. I hated watching it.
I don't.
could tell. I could tell you
It
were
was
struggling.
really bad.
I could see it in your face. You
It
were
was
on the struggle.
really,
line.
really
So
bad.
the cycle of this film was something would happen, and I'd be, man, that's really bad, and I would get mad at something in the film, and then every once in a while something would happen that would make me burst out laughing because it looked so funny. Oh, oh my goodness.
Okay.
Where do we even start? Do we just start with the opening? Like, should we just start?
Oh
there?
yeah, I would probably start
Okay.
with going through characters,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I figure the two big fights we'll talk about
Yeah.
for a while.
Are you talking about the one at Edoras and then the one at Helm's Deep?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those would be the ones. we'll
I've
talk
gotta
about.
say, okay, there were a couple things in the opening that I thought were pretty funny. One of them was the opening line of the narration. One of the opening lines of the narration is like, "Oh, you're not gonna find any songs about her. You're not gonna hear any of the songs about her."
yes.
And then the title card comes up. Title card drops. Immediately, it's a song about her that's played. Immediately, her brother is singing a song about her. That's immediate. That's the line right
Yeah.
before her brother is singing a song about her.
So
You're not gonna hear any songs about her except for this one. This one
Yeah.
you're gonna hear right after I'm
I
done
no,
talking.
it should have been like you're not gonna hear any stories about her, and then the movie just ends.
That would be so
That would be
That would've been really
They
funny.
literally have the movie go, and it doesn't even mention her once.
And it just like holds up a photo of Peter Jackson. It has that part of him talking about like being loyal to the source material. Which, you know, like that was one thing, like in the very beginning, my like stomach dropped when she said
Yeah.
that because like my whole thing is, you know, of course being true to the source material with Tolkien's work.
Which,
And
she's not named.
from my understanding,
In the books,
there is-
she is talked about as a character.
Right.
She is a real character. However, she does play a role in the fact that Wulf, which it's spelled W-U-L-F. It's not like Wolf, like that'd be corny.
Yeah.
But like, he does want to marry her, but the guy who has the say in it is Helm Hammerhand, and she's
yeah.
not like this great warrior in the books.
yeah,
She does play that role though in the fact that he wants to marry her. That's it. That's all.
yeah.
That's literally all she does.
Isn't there only like one line about her in the book?
Yeah, every
I think
review
so.
of the movie, you're like, okay, let's start with reviewing everything Tolkien ever
Yeah.
wrote about this character, and they literally read one line.
Yeah.
And then that's
Right.
it.
Exactly.
Which
Now-
I just even from the trailer, I was like, this movie is about the wrong person. They
Yeah.
have the wrong
Helm
protagonist.
Hammerhand.
Helm Hammerhand is clearly
there's
the
a
person
bunch
who
written
has the
about him.
character stuff going on. She has nothing. She has no arc in this movie.
Yeah.
She doesn't change as a person. She doesn't grow at all. She's the same from beginning to end. And I'm not saying you can't have a static character, but she is boring. She is lame. I
I
hate her. She's worthless.
Yeah.
She's
I don't
so
even care
bad.
if she as a character is in the movie.
Well, yeah.
And if they like kind of kept her the same and stuff. But if she's just a background character, like the Sons were.
She shouldn't be the protagonist.
Yeah.
Because it's not. The story's clearly not about her. It's clearly not about her.
So Freka, all right, who is the main character's cousin, right?
Wait, Freka, I thought he was the big bad guy
I thought
in
he
the
was the
beginning.
big fat guy.
Yeah, he's the
Oh,
big
that's
guy.
the big fat guy?
I thought
Yeah,
he was
that's
the
the
big
big-
fat guy.
yeah, that's
Okay,
Wolf
that guy was
is-
funny. That guy was hilarious.
Dude,
Wolf
Since we're
is-
talking about him, I don't know who brought him up.
He
But
has-
that guy walked like a freaking penguin that was like
Dude.
800 pounds.
There are a couple of shots where everybody just like there are so many times when the characters walk with like a big waddle or like such like a wide swagger or something.
Well,
It
there were
looks
several
weird.
shots where no one else is moving except for him, and
Right.
he's just like shaking, like back and forth.
Exactly.
It's like the blow up dummy in Gotha Panda that he punches and it like moves back and
Yeah.
forth. That's just him. He's just moving back and forth the entire time.
He is the character where all the weird animation stuff, all those weird like over unnatural movements are, those over exaggerated unnatural movements. He's the character that exemplifies that. Like from his introduction, where he's got his hands and he's like moving them like I mean, I can't even describe how he's like it's
will
really
say-
unnatural. It's so strange.
I will say, and you might disagree with this actually, I did like the scene where Helm Hammerhand punched him.
That was cool.
Yeah,
I
thought that
mean,
was cool.
I did like that.
I'll be honest. I think Hammerhand, as far as the fight, like out of all the fight
Oh,
animations,
he was awesome.
his are like consistently pretty cool. Like he's got some pretty good weight
Yeah.
behind his punches.
and going back to
What I
the
love
scene in
about
general, I did like the dialogue and stuff that was happening in that scene.
I thought it was okay.
Until the very end, until
He
Okay.
said you could rule the world and all this stuff.
Well,
no,
no.
that was the very end of the
Until
movie, the very end of the
like,
scene.
Wulf has just said, "I'm gonna kill you," and like kill your sons, and then the dad's like, "Nah, you're banished. Go." I'm like, dude, kill this guy. He's literally just said he's like gonna kill you and your family.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so right.
Like,
that would be
like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't let him go.
Actually, that was a theme they do like 4 or 5 times throughout the entire
That
movie.
villain, he gets away so many times when he doesn't. He shouldn't. He shouldn't.
This is not even a problem just in this movie, but like in most movies nowadays, there's this theme of like, oh, we're gonna just let the bad guy go 100%, even though he's killed all these people, and he's just
Yeah.
gonna come back and kill all these
Well,
people.
it's that. It's
And,
that
like,
thing.
I don't.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Okay. It's that thing where like this happens a lot, especially in like revenge stories, where people will like plow through the minions. They'll shoot them all. They'll kill every henchman, everybody who's just doing their job,
know.
and then they get to the big bad guy, the one who killed their loved one, who the person who set them on this journey to begin with, and be like,
I'm not gonna go into revenge.
No,
I'm not
"This isn't what you would have wanted."
Revenge won't define me. Like,
No, they killed like hundreds of people to
It's
get
I think one of the major examples that like people still haven't forgot about is The Last of Us 2.
oh yes.
So it was a video game where the protagonist's father figure got his head beaten in. He was beaten to death with a golf club.
Yeah.
And so the whole game is about her trying to kill the person who did that. And at the very end, she's like, "No, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
What the heck?
I'm going to end the cycle."
I've heard
vengeance.
people talk about. I've never played The Last of
Yeah,
Us.
I haven't either, but
I've heard people who talk about The Last of Us say that the first one is like super good and the second one's kind of lame.
yeah,
So,
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I've gotten.
it seems
Yep.
like
have you played The Last of Us?
No, I have not.
I
have
have
not.
watching some playthroughs of Last of Us 2 and stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen some funny clips from.
I've seen some funny
too.
clips. Yeah. Must have been the wind.
Okay.
Those are
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
Anyway, but yeah, also back to Helm Hammerhand. There were a couple parts, like that part. You know that one part where he's fighting the troll,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
he's like
Yeah.
kind of in this like big rage and everything, and he's like almost kind of like mostly like a human being wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, he
Yeah.
jumps like 20 feet in the
Yeah.
air.
Doesn't he
Except
jump over the
this-
troll's head?
Besides the part where he jumps over the troll's head, I actually thought that was a pretty cool scene. I will say though, the reason why I think that was a cool scene is because when I've read when I read in the Silmarillion and it's talking about that like part where he has like gone out into the snow and he's like fighting all these guys.
Right.
The way they describe him, it's almost like he has like Tolkien kind of leaves it open to maybe he has turned into some kind of like creature or something like that, or maybe he has like developed into like this inhuman state like or rage like where he can kind of just like plow through everything and just
Right.
kind of like and he just kind of captured that really well, and I really liked that. I thought that was cool.
So during the siege, right,
Yeah.
the sieging army is in the snow, and they're led to believe that Helm Hammerhand has come back as some sort of wraith and is like murdering their people in the
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
and eating them and all that, and like it's super creepy.
Yeah.
But then it's shown that it's these which I think is 2 orcs, right?
2 orcs and
Yeah.
a
Troll.
Yeah.
Have been doing it. Which I thought was okay. So it's not Helm Hammerhand, but then he's out there again, and he is doing stuff during the night.
Well,
I will
they're
say,
the ones who are they're definitely the ones who are eating them. I don't know if they're the ones who are killing them.
yeah, I will say
because I
that
really like the idea that he is the one like doing it.
I think
Like,
he's the
he
one
was
who's killing them,
in-
but he's not the
in-
one who's eating them.
in the original story, he is the one who's killing them.
Okay,
Now,
good.
I will say the way they wrote that part for the movie, like I was gonna say, like the fight itself was cool, but the way they wrote that entire whole thing of him becoming that was really choppy and really weird, and it didn't. It felt really rushed.
Yeah.
And
Well, if the movie was more focused on him, like that would have been a really
Oh,
cool
they
section
could
to
have done
watch.
all kinds of. It's like the movie wanted him to be the main character, but
Be-
they like felt obligated to be.
It's because the story's about him. He's the
know.
protagonist.
He's
I don't.
the
I'm not a
protagonist.
like. I don't. I haven't even finished reading all of Lord of the Rings, but I still like the movies. They're really cool. Helm's Deep is like such a cool place. Like the fight
yeah.
at Helm's Deep in the movies, one of the best fight scenes of all time. This is the guy who the place is named after, and why can't we just focus a little more on him, please? Just a little bit.
I
more.
was hoping that when I watched this movie, they just would make him the main character.
They should have.
Yeah.
They should have made him the main character. He's the one who has the most potential for any sort of character arc or development, which he still
I
doesn't
mean, even
get.
his
But he is the one. He's the one who could have. He has so much potential to be like a great main character.
You
And-
could do so much with him. Both of his sons die in this film.
Yeah.
Like you could do so much with
I
him.
know. He
Like,
goes
what would
through
that-
a lot.
And it's because of
And
his
they don't
drive.
show it. The next time he passes out, and the next time we see him, he's like fighting this giant troll. I'm like, okay, we missed so much of this
Like,
guy's
what
story.
happened to you?
We missed so much of his
Okay.
thinking. His
Okay, can we talk about the characters?
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
okay,
yes,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
just-
Sorry, we got a little sidetracked.
I've got to
on
tell you,
things.
none of the characters in this movie have a character arc at all. None of them.
You're right.
No, Wolf does.
What's his arc?
He goes from being cringe to
Well, he kind of goes
being
from
dead.
Yeah.
To being dead.
You're kind of right. He kind of has a character arc, but not much of one.
Okay.
He starts off. Wait, you might want to explain this because
I was just saying, he wants to marry Hera, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
his father wants the throne, but then his father dies,
He
and
gets
then
killed.
then he is led with just hatred. He wants revenge, and he wants to completely like cut off his line,
Yeah.
Helm's line. Okay, that's a good motivation. That's great, you know. And then he
because
does
of
just
that.
become straight cringe at the end, where he's like, you know,
Yeah.
I've killed all these people, I still want to siege this and kill all the refugees here for some reason.
In the middle of the movie, not the middle, kind of more like towards the beginning quarter of it, like where they're laying siege to Edoras and all that
Mhm.
stuff. I thought he was kind of a more cool bad guy. Now, towards the end, when we learn more and more about him, he makes a lot more stupid decisions.
Well, yeah.
and
Wait,
he gets
so-
a lot,
so he has a-
he just becomes kind of a
Okay, right.
So he has a general, right?
Wait, before again, I still don't know what his arc is, guys. I'm still lost.
Well, then you might be right. You may not have a character.
I can't think of one other than like the very initial his inciting an incident. He has an inciting incident. He does not have a complete arc. His inciting incident is Dad died. Gotta
Yeah.
kill people.
Yeah, which I'm fine with that being a motivation.
That's
Honestly,
fine.
that's good.
But it's
That's
not
good.
it's not an arc. It's not complete.
No, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, he acts in a way to accomplish his goals, and he actually does. He wipes out Helm's
Yeah.
line. He succeeds, and for some reason, he's like, "No, nah, man, I still want to fight." Like, what? I don't
It's
understand.
her. I've got to kill her.
Yeah, but
Literally,
why?
he keeps
Why do you have
he
to?
keeps making
I
these.
mean, a second ago,
He
like,
makes all these stupid decisions, and he still wins.
I think
and
he-
yet he's still not satisfied. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, where are you going?
Mhm.
I mean,
and
he
then he
wanted to
dies.
marry her. He told her he loved her. Remember that?
Yeah, at the very
Well,
beginning.
yeah, at the very
Yeah.
beginning.
I mean, like he like, there's no really big reason why he should have a big grudge towards her
No.
necessarily. You know what I mean?
Well, no, well, don't you remember? Come on, Seth. Don't you remember the flashback scene? The one flashback
What
scene they
flashback
showed?
is- Oh,
with
yeah,
as kids?
Shoot.
She cut his eye. That's the real motivation here.
It was not his father dying. He was always
And he
after
also-
revenge.
He was always after revenge.
Remember
Remember the line? Remember the line at the very end of the movie where he's
Oh, yeah.
like,
He said,
he's like, from the first moment I met you, which was probably like when they were
Then
what,
they were
3,
like,
4.
we were-
Yeah,
They
He's
were
like,
babies,
I
yeah.
knew he would be the end of
This
my
little girl's
downfall.
gonna be my downfall.
just like,
He still wanted to marry her. He's like, she's
Yeah.
gonna kill me. I don't care. I still want to marry her.
dude, I mean, like, just imagine that. Like, you are 3. You meet a 3-year-old girl, and your dad say, "Hey, be friends," and you're just like, "She will be my undoing." That is
Well,
the first
in that-
thought you have when you meet your fellow 3-year-old.
Well, I have so many questions about that flashback because he's like, "Hey, leave before my father sees you." So were they not supposed to be friends? Like, was that like forbidden or something?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't
Yeah.
understand what the like.
I
Why
forget-
even
I
have
kinda
that line? Why
forget
even
what-
tease
Well,
that line if
okay.
you're not gonna explain it?
Okay, the only reason I think that line would be there is because she cut him.
So she'd be in trouble.
Well, that would be kind of a diplomatic. It wouldn't
Okay,
be like a
okay,
big,
that's
it wouldn't be huge, but it would
that's-
be a hiccup.
hey,
Yeah.
The film didn't give me enough time to think about that. They gave me something else to
That's
do.
Yeah,
true,
there
though.
was a lot that was thrown at me during that movie that I just like. I was like, oh, we'll worry about
Yeah.
that later.
So, anyways, Wolf doesn't have an arc, right? Are we in agreement?
I still think he goes from cringe to dead.
Okay, if that's the definition, I agree. Because yeah, gee whiz. There's just no character development in this movie at all.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think there was.
Nobody changes. Nobody changes. Not Helm Hammerhand. It doesn't
Even the
change.
main character, she doesn't really change.
Yeah, none of them. None of them.
Yeah.
Anybody. The only change is just like people being alive and then being dead. That's
Yep.
it. And that's not a character change either.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
I mean, people did make. You would think, like, decisions that would leave like us waiting for a character arc, like Helm Hammerhand, essentially commits suicide in this film, doesn't he?
Kind of, but he doesn't do that necessarily in the books.
He doesn't do that in
Not
the books.
really.
I figured.
Okay.
I
Not
figured
really.
that wouldn't be the way he went out in the books.
No, he kind of doesn't. So like the way he kind of dies in the books is they just actually find him out in like the frozen wasteland, like out in the wilderness, and he's like he's frozen in place like in the movie,
Yeah.
but not like looking like an idiot like that.
But he looks cool.
Of course he does. I mean, he writes it like he looks cool.
Man, like,
But
I'm
like,
trying to think of everything in this movie that made me mad. I think the thing that made me mad the most often was that people don't know how like bows and arrows work. Like they just
Yes.
Yeah.
they just
yeah, there were so many
forget
times.
how that works.
There were so many times they could have shot people.
Well, I think probably the first one that made me just mad for so long was the king's youngest son, right? I guess he's his only son
Yeah.
at this point. He is being so all of the soldiers have abandoned him. He's just kind of been straggling behind. None of the soldiers sought to protect the only son's heir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
So
the
he's-
heir to the throne is being abandoned.
Yeah, and there are 4 people chasing him. Wulf, his general, and 2 soldiers, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming after him, right, on horseback. All right. He unmounts his horse. Smart move. You're gonna start firing some arrows. Smart move to unmount the horse. Okay. He takes a good like 10, 15 seconds to talk to his horse
Yeah.
before he turns around and slowly pulls back the bow. I'm like, dude, you should be firing every arrow you have, okay? Like, arrows are really good for shooting far away, all right? That is your only chance at surviving here. If by chance you kill the guy who's after you guys,
Kill
the
Wolf,
leader,
man.
and there's
Kill
a
that guy.
general in front of you. Like, go for him.
Yeah.
Ah.
Like that'd be a
But
devastating
let's-
blow, even if you died. Like try to.
Let's
Try
let's try to be a little more structured. We can do this. We're talking about characters right now.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
more of a plot thing. It
Okay.
is so stupid.
Oh,
it's
I do
incredibly
have
dumb,
I
but
have
it is a
one big
plot
character
thing.
complaint. My least
Okay.
favorite character for the whole movie was I don't even remember her name.
It was. Let me guess. Was it her handmaid, Hera's handmaid?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
I
shield maiden.
Hated
Shield
that
maiden.
character.
Shield maiden.
Yeah. What was her name? Olga?
Olga.
Was it
I
something
like
that?
how. Okay, never mind. We're getting off track. We'll
Okay.
talk about it later.
Okay, what are your thoughts on Olga? Why do you hate her?
I just, she felt so out of place. I didn't like how an old lady was able to fight an experienced, like, guy.
Like
Wolf?
yeah.
Yeah,
Like- So
didn't
not
like
not
that.
only that, she fights him off, and then 2 guards into the room, and the movie understands how bad it is. They have to cut away because even they
There's
can't
no way
show her
she's getting
fight.
out of
Yeah,
that
she can't
situation.
fight off 3 people.
And they imply
then she
that,
does.
And they
Well,
imply
when
that she's
she's-
a. They imply that she's a shield maiden,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
she was in her former life, and like, but still, she's an old lady. Like, she's an old
You're
woman.
right.
And it's like, you're not gonna win a
She's-
fight against a fully grown,
At-
like, young 25, 25, 30,
Okay.
how old is Wolf?
At best,
Like,
Yeah.
she
you're not gonna
is.
win that fight.
At best, she's mid to late 50s.
Yeah.
At best.
She's got full gray hair.
Yes. So again, at best, she's
She
mid
looks
to
great.
late 50s. Do you think a mid to late 50-year-old, just like imagine your mom or something, if your mom is around that age, just imagine somebody in your life who's like 55, like at best.
At best, yes.
At best, she's like 55. Imagine her fighting against a U.S. Marine. I don't think she's gonna win.
Well,
But she
technically
had a
3 of
shield.
Marines, because
Oh.
there were 3 guys in
Yeah.
the room.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or,
I just love how the movie just had to cut away. They just couldn't even show it.
And then she just drops
or
down.
more accurately, 3 like barbarian cavemen.
Yeah, that's
Like-
literally what it is.
It's just no, she's not gonna
It-
do that.
Her character just felt very unnecessary and just kind of weird.
Like, if I
Whenever
was
she was there, I just
if
didn't
I
like
was in
her.
her place, I had a sword and that tiny little plate
It's a-
shield she had, right?
Hmm.
If it was me versus 3 guys, I don't even think 3 guys I could fight the 3 guys with a sword, like an actual sword. 3
Yeah.
guys, I might get 2 if I'm good, but one
Oh,
of
yeah.
them's gonna tackle me.
It's like we've done, like, I've seen guys like do different like exercises for like boxing and stuff like
Mhm.
that. You'll have like maybe like 3 guys
Careful.
and like one other guy who like got boxing gloves, and the other
Mhm.
guys are like trying to tackle him, but he's gotta like keep him away and like hit him, and he can't keep him off of him.
Yeah.
well, the
Like,
the,
there's
the,
no
the
way.
numbers game just doesn't add up.
No.
No, like people don't understand how hard it is to fight off multiple opponents.
Oh,
like 2v1, it's basically impossible.
2v1
Like-
is really difficult. 3v1, it's like,
You're
oh
not.
my,
gonna win.
you need a miracle.
you need
No,
to-
like,
you
you
basically need to. Be
You need a
Batman.
miracle, and that's something that Olga or whatever her name is,
I don't
Grandma.
remember what her.
she just doesn't get that. She doesn't have that. There's no reason why she should be able to do that. And that's not even like, there are parts that are worse than that, where she's fighting off more people than that. Like
Yeah.
at the towards the very end, where the shield tower, or not shield tower, siege tower, has
How
fallen
dare
over.
you call it a siege tower?
I know. I'm
It was
calling
more like
it
a
what the
siege
movie
bridge.
called it, so that way people know what I'm talking about.
Which that idea wasn't even good.
Can I talk about
No.
like my favorite part in the whole movie? My
let me-
favorite part in the whole movie,
finish.
please.
Let me finish. So
I know it.
she's fighting on this siege tower with heavy quotations, and there are tons, like an endless flow of enemies rushing at her, and she's fighting them off. How?
At least in
How?
at least in Lord of the Rings, like when you see somebody fighting multiple orcs are kind of dumb. They're almost kind of like,
They're small. They're shorter than everyone.
and they're not like typically that strong, depending on the kind of orc.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
The
it's
thing
like
with
when you
orcs is
kill
the
a bunch of
numbers.
orcs at one
Yeah.
time, that makes more sense. But when it's guys, it's like
Mercenaries who have been paid.
These guys are fighters. They literally kill people for a living. They're gonna kill you if there's a lot of them, of course, and especially
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, she was my least favorite character. I think like other characters, like there were like I'd say almost all of the characters, most of the characters.
My least favorite character is every archer in this movie. 'Cause every single one of them sucks.
You're right. You're right.
Except for the guy that shot Helm Hammerhand's son.
Yeah, apparently, there's one guy who's
Yeah,
really good at
There's
shooting.
shot
one
him in the
archer
neck.
off
It's like,
screen
who
who's
did
like
that?
amazing. Good job, man.
Well, the enemies were like they draw out the
I like-
Rohirrim for some. Why the Rohirrim leave the city? Don't know. But anyway, they leave and they just get volleyed upon by
Yeah.
arrows. Duh, because that's what you do. I'm like, hey,
And
those
also,
archers
by the
know
way,
what they're
they were
doing.
kind of
Well,
repurposing that
I want to
scene
talk
from-
about the tactics in like a dedicated section.
Okay,
'Cause,
we can talk
I've
about
got
that.
a lot of problems with the tactics in this movie. They're stupid and they don't make any sense. That's the summary.
Okay.
But let's try to. We can do this. We can be more structured. We can do
Okay,
this.
we're still
talk
on
about
characters, right?
Yes,
the
we're
characters.
Do you
still
have,
on
what other
characters.
characters do you not like, or do you?
I don't like any of them.
You know what other character she's more of a background character, but I don't like the old lady that's like in Helm's Deep.
Yeah,
She
the
made
witch.
no sense. Was she even
Yeah.
a witch? I don't know.
I don't know, but she was drawn like one, so that's what I'll call her. I don't know her
The
name.
zoom in on her face.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that kind of reminds me of Ralph Bakshi.
That
a little
was
bit.
weird. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That
That was another one where I'm like,
He came out of nowhere.
I was dumbfounded. I'm like trying to figure out what stupid nonsense this movie's trying to tell me, and then I just laugh because this thing is in my screen and don't know what to do.
She was such a random nonsense character. She did not need
No
to be in the movie.
explanation. She's like, "Oh, I've been keeper of these."
You can
souls."
easily
The
write her out.
only reason she's in the freaking movie is to say, "Oh, this is a wedding dress. This is
That's the only.
this is a prize tool for
Which-
later."
Literally, you could have Olga say that. You could have Olga go.
You could have anyone
"Ah,
be
that's-"
like, "What is a wedding dress doing here?" Like,
Well, I mean, like, the only thing she adds that the characters couldn't infer is just the specific story of, like, oh, that's a wedding dress that she never got to wear. She died before her wedding. Ooh. It's like, Olga could have known that. Sure,
Right.
Olga could know that. Who cares?
I
Olga
think
could know that, or that short, fat kid could know that. He
Yeah.
could know that, too.
it could be on the plaque on the box.
discount
for goodness
Samwise
sake.
game,
Yeah, it could be discount Samwise Gamgee.
which Samwise Gamgee was much better than that little turd.
Well, I was thinking. So after the long winter, I leaned over to H&M and I was like, "How is he still fat?" I'm like,
Oh, that's true.
I'm like, they've literally been starving for food this entire time. He's been doing all the manual labor. How is he still fat?
Okay, you gotta
Come on.
remember, he's in charge of the rations. So he's been skimming a little off the top here and there.
I honestly don't know if there. I don't think there is another person in that camp who was chubby.
No.
I don't think there was a single other character.
There
who was
wasn't
fat.
another character. Oh wait,
Okay.
no.
No,
the fat guy.
The fat guy, yeah.
Fat guy, I think.
But like, it makes
Yeah.
sense for him to be fat because he's.
Yeah.
'Cause
well,
he's
and they reference it. They reference it several times.
Yeah.
Helm Hammerhand's like, "Yeah, you've been getting fat, haven't you, boy?"
Wait, have they?
Helm literally says, "You've been getting fat." Like, he literally says that.
In the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I was thinking, I was like, he's unconscious in Helm's Deep.
No, the very beginning.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Now you put on a little weight, kid. Jeez.
Oh yeah. Also, I really did not like that one character, the blonde-headed kid that we were just talking about.
Yeah, the little fat
I
guy.
forget
Yeah,
what
the
he was
fat guy.
talking about. I felt like they
He's
were
like the
trying to
crier.
do something there with him. Like they were trying to make kind of like the character design for Samwise. He's kind of short,
Yeah.
like that kind of hairstyle, and he's kind of he's got a little weight on him.
They kept
He's
trying to
a
make
little
him.
bit fat.
They kept trying to make him funny. They had him fall down, I think, twice.
I know.
And it wasn't funny either time.
No, there was no.
No,
there-
but 3 times. I can think of 3 times. He fell down.
anytime this movie tried to be funny, it wasn't.
Yeah, I never laughed unironically at this movie.
Yeah.
Which, granted,
We
it's not
did
supposed to
laugh
be a comedy.
in
but-
sometimes when it wasn't trying to
Right,
make us laugh.
right, which is why I said unironically.
Oh my god! I just realized him falling down is a plot point now because it reveals to.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh my.
There's a lot of
goodness.
coincidences in this movie.
It
Oh, there
reveals
are
to
a lot
Hera-
of things.
It reveals
He has
to
the
Hera
seals on
it's
the-
seal, and she's like, I recognize this.
Oh yeah.
Oh my word, this guy's gonna betray us. And that's
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that.
Man, that's a plot point.
I
Now.
forgot
He
about
sa-
that. I
he
completely
saved-
forgot about
he
that.
saved-
entire
He saved
part
the
of it.
entire city
he
because
saved
he
the
fell
entire
down.
city
He fell
because
off
he
his
tripped. If he hadn't tripped, if he had done his job properly, everyone would have died.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I didn't like him.
Yeah, he was pretty lame.
Yeah.
as a character and just everything. I felt like they were trying to make him kind of like a hobbit almost.
Yeah,
and
I can understand
I
that.
didn't like that. It's like, stop doing
You thought
that.
so? You thought they were gonna make him a hobbit? I thought they were trying to make him a clown. That's what.
No, what I meant by that was like they
Like,
were
fill
he
the same
obviously
role.
wasn't the hobbit.
Oh yeah.
But like I just felt like they were kind of like trying like,
Trying to
people
invoke
like
that
hobbits.
feeling.
Let's try to make this guy kind of hobbit like.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, I
and he wasn't
understand.
even hobbit like. It's like he wasn't.
It was like a caricature
yeah.
of hobbits. It's like, oh, hobbits like to eat, we'll make them fat.
Oh.
Hobbits are short, we'll make them short. You know, a couple hobbits are funny, we'll make them funny.
Funny.
Quote unquote.
Any other characters that we want to comment on?
I just want to say that the main character Hera.
Oh yeah, we need.
Oh, yeah,
we
that's
haven't
right.
even talked about her hardly at all.
Yeah, what's there to talk about? She doesn't have an arc.
She
doesn't.
nothing much about her.
Okay. Do you think she's a Mary Sue?
No,
No?
No,
Okay.
because she does get bested quite a few times.
Okay.
because there are
Which
enough.
I actually liked. I was like, oh man, they're not making her this unstoppable.
She does struggle. And
Do you think she
sometimes.
is good at things she shouldn't be good at?
Yes.
Oh yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I would agree with that for sure.
She won a battle wearing a wedding dress. AJM
Yeah.
wearing a wedding
Yeah.
dress.
Well, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Okay.
Yeah, and also he completely earlier in the movie, I think she had like some kind of little short fight with him or something like that, or with
Mhm.
another guy, and it's like pretty clear like she can't take on like multiple people at one time. She can't
Well,
take on like
A lot of
a guy
times,
this size at
a
one
lot of-
time, or something.
a lot of times she's fighting. She has a shield and a sword.
Yeah.
Versus this person with just a sword, which a shield is a huge advantage. In
Oh
a
my
fight.
goodness.
So you're basically fighting with two hands versus
Yeah.
someone just one. So I'm okay with the fights like that lasting a lot longer, like
Yeah.
her standing her ground a lot more.
I don't even have trouble with her being like, a good fighter or whatever. I just want to know why,
Yeah.
and I not want to know how, and like I want it to make sense.
Probably
you know what I mean?
the biggest thing that she did that came out of nowhere is that she can climb mountains. Like
We're
we're
that's the big
talking
one.
like to the level of like professionals would say no, that's gonna kill me level of climbing mountains.
Oh yeah,
She-
I forgot about
she
that.
is if she were a real person, she would be one of the best mountain climbers in the world.
In the world.
Easily. Which doesn't really make a lot of sense for someone who grew up in the plains.
Yeah.
Well,
riding horses.
good horseback rider. Absolutely,
Yeah.
she's a girl. She's light. I can imagine she goes pretty fast.
Yeah.
I a-okay with that power or
Ye-
talent or ability.
Yeah. Another thing, one thing that didn't really make sense that she said something like, that she's like something like the fastest rider in Rohan or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of times it depends on, like, I will say there are some techniques and definitely some things with you as the rider
Mm.
with a horse, but a lot of times it is the horse.
Yeah. There is a horse called Shadowfax. I remember being pretty fast. I remember
Yeah,
that.
you should go get that guy.
Yeah.
And they even made her horse white.
I know. I thought I was like, that's they're trying to say that like we just have like a Shadowfax like knockoff here. I don't.
Yeah.
Gosh.
There were actually a few lines also in the movie, like they were completely repurposed from like
Yeah.
the original.
Oh, I
Lords.
know. I know.
I forget. There was like 4 or 5. at
They
least.
repurposed some music too, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
At the very
mentioned
beginning,
that, yeah.
there was music. I'm like, well, hey, at least this part is good, even though they've stolen, music.
Even though they don't deserve it.
What do you... Yeah. But I really liked that point. Back to the mountain climbing thing. I really liked that point you brought up about like how they basically just live in Indiana. Like, there's no...
Well, I mean, to be fair, they do have hills, so it's not that flat. But
It's not that
They're
bad.
hills, but they're not mountains.
No.
They're definitely not
Yeah.
mountains.
So-
They live on the hill. That's
Yeah.
where they live.
it's more like maybe like Kansas or something. It's a little hill here. Yeah, it's
I guess.
like okay, she can be good at horseback riding. I don't
Yeah.
think she should be great at fighting,
No, and
which she's definitely
here's the thing though.
too good for what reasons they give
Yeah.
her, which is none.
I agree. I will say though, there are a couple little fights she's in where she does get beat pretty well, and I was like, oh, like I was actually not expecting that.
Yeah.
I was actually not expecting her to get like from what I've heard about this movie, I was not expecting her to get beat by that guy, or like it seems like in a lot of
I'm
these-
trying to think of guys that beat her. It's the
it's
kidnappers,
the guy
right?
in the remember the guy in the barn? She doesn't necessarily beat that guy. Her horse kicks him and runs him into her.
Yeah, she lucked
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah,
She
that
got-
was
she got lucky.
super
complete
lucky.
luck. He was he was really beating her.
Yeah,
bad.
I guess
he had
yeah.
her right where he wanted
That was
her.
super lucky though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
would say
different
she
good.
should have
Yeah,
died.
good for her not being able to overpower him. Bad for
Bad.
the movie being super convenient.
She should have
There's a
like
lot
just
of
run
stuff
away
like
or
that,
something
too.
like that, or
Yeah.
got out of there, and some
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
guy she could like come help her, like her brother or something like that.
Okay. I don't know if I should bring this up now, but like the scene with the first Oliphant, like that's what they're called, right?
Yeah,
Oliphant?
Oliphants.
It's the dumbest. Like
I
it's the
know.
dumbest plan. What are they thinking throughout that entire fight scene? What are they doing? Why aren't they just running away?
Well, because they're super fast. Isn't that the thing? They can outrun
Well,
horses.
horses are faster than Oliphants.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
then what are they doing?
I think.
I mean,
Then what are they
they're
doing?
faster.
In the movie, it looks like they're
I
faster.
mean, let's look at this from like a real world perspective.
That's true because they
Isn't-
can run laps around them.
Yeah.
They take swipes at
Isn't
them.
a horse faster than an elephant's definitely slower than a horse,
Oh yeah.
I would
like by
think,
far.
Mm-hmm.
I would think
An
so.
Oliphant is basically just a very, very large elephant.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not even okay with just calling them elephants.
basically.
Like
Basically,
they're
that's
basically
what they
just
are.
a big elephant.
Mm.
And like that would make sense. Like if you're on a horse, I would think, yeah, you could just ride away.
Well, yeah. And even if they Oliphant can outrun them, I would be the one person should sacrifice himself. The cousin would sacrifice himself
Well, he
to
tried
let
to.
them outrun.
He tried to turn back. Like, what was it? Who was it that fell off their horse? It was the fat kid, right?
Of course, that was the
He
first time he
was-
fell.
yeah,
Yeah,
he was-
that was the first time he fell.
The fat kid falls off his horse after this. They see this elephant, and then the fat kid falls off his horse when they're gonna run away, and then the cousin goes, "Oh my goodness, I gotta kill this thing, I guess." Runs underneath him
Who-
and stabs it with the sword.
Which I'm saying that
was-
character super cool. I really like that guy.
Actually, he was kind of cool,
Okay,
but not much character.
he's
arc.
he's
No,
probably
he's literally in like 7 minutes of the film.
yeah, he's not.
But
in
what he is in, really cool.
He's probably the best character in the movie.
I think so. I would say so.
Yeah.
He's definitely my favorite.
My favorite's Helm Hammerhand.
He just does.
There are some things he does that are pretty stupid though.
Oh, I know, but like
He is really cool most of the time.
Mostly, I just man. Anyway, sorry, we're getting sidetracked again.
yeah, if they like were like short one horse or something like that, or they had to be on foot for somebody or something like that, that guy
Yeah.
turning back and trying to fight that thing would make sense.
But it doesn't make sense as a first resort. It would be way faster for the kid to just get on the horse.
Well, he's fat. It would take him like 5 minutes.
It's not that bad, but okay. Like,
That's
It's
like another level of
ridiculous.
fat
It's
that we're-
ridiculous. And he's still, when they cut back to him, and it's been like a minute or so. It's been a little while. He had just had plenty of time to get back on the horse. He's still not on the horse.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
still
Hera-
just standing there
Hera-
watching dumbfounded.
Hera like, oh, I'm gonna lead him away, and then she basically outruns it. Then she gets off her horse.
In the forest.
I'm like, you
Yeah.
have outrun the thing.
She
Keep
throws-
going.
She throws her spear in the water because she's curious about some like creature in the water.
Well,
Remember that?
she knew
Yeah.
about the creature in the water beforehand, and her plan was, okay, I know I can't kill this thing. I'm gonna lure it to this big monster in the swamp, and make it mad, and then maybe it'll kill it.
Oh yeah, you're
So-
right. Because I had forgotten that they
Yeah.
said something about that monster
Right.
that lives in there.
Which
Okay.
that's when that one weird shot happens with the panning across the still background.
Oh gosh.
And that should not be in there. This movie could be trimmed down.
You know what
Oh.
actually
I
bothered
think
me?
this film would be better with less of it, and I think
Well,
would
yeah.
would look better with less frames, like with less people moving.
You know what actually bothered
maybe.
me more than the panning part
Yeah.
is when she blew the horn and it was twirling around her.
That was that early in the movie?
No,
or was
that
that was at that scene.
right
There were a
when
couple
she was
of
trying to draw the
spinning-
Oliphant.
Yeah.
It spun around like 5 times.
It was bad.
That was the part that like
It was
They had that in
Visually,
they had that in
for
the
me-
trailer, and it was like once or twice. I'm like, that's a cool shot, and then it's like they just looped it like 5 times. I was like,
Yeah,
this
it
is
went
going
on
way
way
too
too
fast.
how
long.
can we pad the runtime? Just make everybody
way too
dizzy.
long. Yeah. But the funny part about that scene is like the Oliphant like sneaks up on her.
And
Dude, this guy is huge. He makes so He makes earthquakes when he walks. Like
I mean, he literally can't get through the forest without destroying the trees. Like he cannot walk
Sneaks
without
up.
knocking over the
he
tree.
like
but
jump
then,
scares her.
but then he sneaks up on her, and it just shows like a shot where he opens his eye between the trees, and then he bursts out, and he knocks over the tree, and he's way too wide. Like there's no way he could sneak up on her. But he
Hear him
sneaks
coming.
up on her.
It'd be like a Jurassic Park situation. You hear
Yeah.
the T-Rex coming.
Yeah, you would not be. You would see the trees falling over as it knocks him down. Just like no. Anyways, that
I did think the Oliphants looked cool.
Yeah.
I didn't
I
think
was
that
right?
first one looked very cool, but the ones after that,
at night.
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought those ones looked cool. I didn't like the first one.
I
thought
liked it
looked
too.
kinda
I thought
dumb.
it was okay.
Yeah. Anyways, back to Frey or hey.
Hera.
Hera.
Yeah.
Hera.
Like, okay,
I
what can you guys name any flaw she has?
Yeah,
Like
she
character
gets
flaw.
cut and character flaw.
Yeah,
Oh,
character
okay, I'm
flaw.
sorry.
Not a facial feature, yeah.
Okay. Character flaw. She doesn't want to get married.
actually that is a big character flaw. She is a bride.
That's might be a little controversial.
She is the bride of
Might be a
death.
little controversial. I think if she was willing to get married, this movie would have been a lot shorter.
Yeah, you're
a lot
right.
Would've been a lot
better.
better.
Maybe. Well, I mean,
Her brothers would be alive.
it would be a lot different. It would be a lot different. I don't know if it would be better
What?
necessarily, but 'cause
Actually, if you just went by just like a character flaw,
yes.
I can't think of any, man.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I will be thinking.
Okay, yeah, I want you to try to think of one because I can't.
Because
think
I was almost thinking of like just like quick little things like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, she got beat in that fight over here. She
Right.
didn't do well over here. But that's not a character flaw. That's
Exactly.
like a
She's really dumb. Does that count as a character flaw?
no.
She's in a really
She
dumb
like
mood.
bursts into the room where like the guys are talking about how they're going to survive, and she's like, "We're going to have hope," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" If I was one of these guys, I'd going to kill you now.
She burst into the room. Hope is like the sun.
Oh no! Oh no!
Walks away.
Oh no!
Anyways, we're starving to death. Should you think we should sneak out of here?
So to kill this lady, we don't need to feed her. We don't want to.
What do you guys feel about cannibalism? Because we don't have enough food, you guys.
She literally goes to fight this guy, and she's like, "Oh, I know. I'm gonna wear a wedding dress." Like
Yeah.
that is one of, like that's gotta be a character flaw. She's dumb.
Okay,
Like that's gotta be a flaw.
hey. One of the important things for a character flaw to count, for it to actually count, is the movie has to agree that it's a character flaw.
I agree that it's a character flaw.
But the
I-
movie has to agree.
Oh,
The
man,
movie has to
I
treat
thought
it
there
like
was
it's a flaw.
something.
Otherwise,
Wasn't
it
there
doesn't count.
something?
Well, I hope the movie does count as a flaw because Wulf says she's wearing like a stupid wedding dress or whatever, right? They acknowledge it. So them acknowledging it
You're correct.
implies
Stretching.
their acknowledgement implies that they understand how
Stretching.
dumb that decision
So
is.
hard. No,
This is how
What
desperate
he-
we are to find a character.
what he says, it's like, why are you wearing a wedding dress? I'm not gonna bury you now.
And she's like, my bride is death, and I'm
I am the bride of death.
I think that was I think that
Oh my
was the
God.
funniest part to me in the entire movie.
He was
I
like,
was cracking.
yeah,
up
because he
at that.
says like, I'm not gonna marry you now. Who's gonna marry you? What are you doing? Who are you gonna get married to now? She's like, I'm pledged to death. It's like, oh, okay, cool, killer boy.
if only
doesn't do.
they had archers.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
or
was-
maybe they should use their army to just kill her. But no, he wants to have a one-on-one. Anyways, yeah, I don't think there is a character flaw for her. I mean, I cannot think of one that the movie acknowledges as a character flaw.
Well, the movie would say, "Oh, she's headstrong,"
Mhm.
and
But I don't think that.
But they're not.
They don't
they're not
acknowledge that-
making that a negative.
No,
thing.
in fact,
Yeah.
right after they say that in the intro, they're like, "But her father loves that because she
But her father actually loves it.
she is super disobedient." No, she's not disobedient.
No.
She is super headstrong, but her dad's kind of into it.
Her dad thinks that's pretty cool.
Would you say she's a little reckless?
I mean, I would, but with the movie.
I would say she goes to fight in a wedding dress. That is one of the
Right,
dumbest
but-
decisions.
Isn't there something she tries to
Okay.
do early on in the movie? Like she's gonna like, I don't
Okay,
remember.
Hang on.
I thought I remembered something she was gonna do, and
So-
somebody stopped her,
So
and they were
the-
like, "No, don't do that."
I don't think so. I can't think of that. Maybe, but I can't think of it at the moment.
Oh wait, she was wanting to go fight with her father, but he told her, "No, that's not
Yeah.
a good idea,"
Right.
and she didn't, which I was surprised. I was
Right.
like, I'm so surprised that like they're actually making her stay
Right.
back.
But
That's
And
actually.
then she did.
okay,
Oh, wait, she didn't.
so
Well, then she
Oh,
tells
that's right,
everyone to
'cause she's
escape.
like,
and
yeah,
all that.
Okay.
yeah, you're right.
right. So, is there a point where her recklessness has major, like, negative consequences?
No,
No,
She
actually,
makes-
actually, it's the opposite.
she makes
Exactly. So it's not. It doesn't count as a character flaw because the movie treats
It's
it like
official.
it's a virtue.
Yeah.
Because every time that comes, sorry,
Sorry about that.
yeah, I wasn't expecting your shoe to be there. So every time she makes like a reckless decision, she's rewarded for it instead of punished. It's like, then it's not a flaw. Then it's a virtue. It's a good thing. It's only beneficial.
So is the
I
is
wouldn't
the-
say it's a good thing. The
But
movie just doesn't
treats
acknowledge
it
it.
like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the exact definition of a Mary Sue? Is it a female character with no character flaws?
It's
Well,
kind
no,
of
it's
Or is it more
ambiguous.
than that?
ambiguous.
It's
Yeah.
I typically say it's mostly with how they're treated within the story.
It's Ray. From
That's
Star
Wars.
that's what the
Ray
definition
is the
has
best
become.
example. Yeah.
Because she had no training and yet she just had abilities that
It's
masters
just-
had.
No work whatsoever.
I like,
And everyone liked her, like
Yeah.
for,
Right.
for seemingly no reason.
I like literature devil, his definition for it, which is like the world like it bends to the character. It,
Yeah,
like,
well-
warps to accommodate them.
Yeah, well, like the most convenient things in all of storytelling, I attribute to like the Mary Sue characters. I think of Captain Marvel
Right.
and Ray have like the most coincident things in the universe happen to them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say Hera, right? That's her name.
yes, Hera.
Okay. I don't remember her name very well, but I would say she's like borderline.
Yeah.
Like she could be considered that.
I probably wouldn't consider her Mary Sue. She has too many struggles that she can't personally overcome. So
I think there
like
are
I was
definitely
really happy when
points
she got
in the-
kidnapped. I was like, yeah, let's
Yeah.
go.
Exactly.
Let's
like,
put her
there
in
were- there were
jeopardy. She has
points-
to get saved by someone else. Yes,
Yeah,
it was her handmaid,
Exactly.
but
Like
God.
there were some times where I felt like she had moments of weakness that
Yeah.
was like, okay, she's
Right,
human.
right.
Like this is kind of nice, you know.
Which again is why I say like borderline.
Yeah.
Not like definitive. It's like I understand why people would consider her that, and I'm kind of back and forth on it myself.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't consider Mary Sue. I would,
I can
yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
She does make mistakes and stuff, I guess, but like it's
They're pretty minor.
yeah, it's not really rooted in a character flaw or anything. It's
Yeah.
more rooted in the plot.
I could definitely see somebody labeling her as a Mary Sue.
Yeah, and I would be fine if they did. I would be like, yeah,
Actually,
that,
I would have completely.
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could do.
I can see why you wouldn't, and I can see why you would. But
Yeah.
I did not
Now,
like
her
it very
handmaid,
much.
the Shield Maiden, she is 100% a Mary Sue.
I think
Really?
so.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
What flaw does she have?
She doesn't struggle
No,
at
you're
all.
right, you're right.
She has no struggles in the whole film.
Okay. I just
Oh.
I wasn't thinking about her because she's not the protagonist.
Yeah, she's the
so-
one who comes in and saves her, fights 3-on-1,
You're right.
and like can like survive
She
20
was
feet
actually
drops like
more-
nothing, and she's like freaking ancient.
Yeah. In terms of the combat, yeah. In terms of plot armor, oh yeah, she's got those for sure.
She's just in the right place, the right time. Oh man.
Yeah.
So
When
I would
she-
label her.
Remember
as
when
Mary
she
Sue.
threw the shield to Hera?
Oh, it was like Captain America, bro. Oh my goodness.
I was so hoping, just for the comedy's sake, that it would actually like hit him like a Captain America shield and like kill him.
She catches it again.
She actually like twirls around, throws it. Oh my
It's
goodness.
a Marvel movie now, guys.
And the Avengers theme starts playing.
Yeah.
and then a bunch of women like show up
Oh,
behind her.
oh, it's a fight.
Yeah, just like an in-game.
Oh no.
I actually remember.
Hey, as long as they came out with freaking arrow, like bow and arrows, and actually started shooting, I would have been happy.
You would have been like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I really didn't like the main character.
Yeah.
I was not endeared to her at all. Especially, like, I just didn't have any good reason to sympathize with her or root for her.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to get married. Okay.
Cool.
Well, I can 100% understand not wanting to get married to
Yeah.
that freaking guy, but
Yeah, he's
I mean,
crazy.
yeah. But like,
But the weird thing about her though with him is like after he's exiled and he's declared, "Hey, I want to kill your dad," she's still like thinking about him and looking for him, which I thought was kind of like.
I thought it was the movie trying to say, she doesn't think he's like gone completely crazy yet. Like they were friends as kids. She's trying to reach out.
he was just
I
really
guess-
angry at that point.
I guess so, but like it's still like maybe looking for the guy that your dad exiled because he said, "Hey, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your sons. I'm gonna kill everybody." I mean, that's not a great idea.
Yeah, I think the movie was also trying to say that like Helm Hammerhand, he exiled him because he didn't think he was crazy. He thought he was just like speaking out because he was mad that his dad just died, and so that's why he didn't execute him. And on one hand, like, yeah, you want to show mercy. On the other hand, he literally did just say that you and your sons are gonna
When
die.
you're
So
a
you
king-
just have to cut that off. Like you're
When
a king,
you are a king,
you have responsibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you have to make decisions that are not necessarily like moral, but also like they kind of are moral, because if you don't do this, X, Y, or Z might
Yeah.
happen, and you're responsible for a ton of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Mercy.
it's like-
Mercy. When you're a king,
You have to be 100% logic,
yes,
and that is it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like, see, okay, I was coming at it from a different angle.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking he was being merciful to him because he thought, oh, like, this guy, maybe he's just lashing out. Maybe he'll calm down. But I think he was more being merciful because it was like, okay, I've already killed one
Mm-hmm.
of my, like, main subjects. One of my lords, basically.
Yeah.
Killing his son directly afterwards is probably not going to look very good. The other lords, probably not going to like that. Whoever takes his place, probably not going to like that. It's probably going to cause some major diplomatic problems if I do. I thought of it more as like a diplomatic thing. Like, if I do this, it's going to make this situation much worse diplomatically.
Yeah, but as soon as he says out loud, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you," like
I know.
you can't let that go unwatched. Like
Yeah.
I know.
no, like as a king, if someone says that to you, if anyone else hears that, you've got to kill that guy. You just got to.
I would
like,
say exile, bad idea. Because you can't
Yes.
keep an eye on him.
yes,
But prison, good idea. Good idea.
No.
Because then you keep an eye on him and he can't do anything. And then you have like an
You
appropriate
can't raise an
punishment.
army
Yeah.
or anything.
He can't do anything from the prison. And then you have
kill
time
that
things
guy.
to smooth
Kill
things
that guy.
over
He
with
needs to
other
die.
lords.
he needs to die.
I mean, one of those two. Either prison or death. But you can't let him
Ah,
die.
At least give him
death.
a fair trial.
Fair trial.
Or you could imprison him until you have the Lord's supports on what to do with him or something. Like, I don't know.
Hey, this guy.
But exiling him-
kill.
Yeah, exiling him is the best. Like, it's the worst idea. It's like,
Gosh.
that's terrible.
I could
idea.
understand why he would do that, but if you think about it,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I really don't think it was because he was trying to be merciful to him specifically. I thought
That's what the movie was trying to say, because that's what
I think that's
Hera
what
said.
the movie
So,
was trying
Hera
to
was-
say.
I mean, maybe.
At the same time, I'd have to
Maybe.
go back to that part in the book, but I think
She
they
should
did
have just
something-
let her dad kill him.
Absolutely.
That would have
Absolutely.
prevented the whole movie. Like the marriage thing, wouldn't have, that still would have caused problems for everybody. But if she just said, Dad, you're right. Kill that guy.
He's
Here, I'll do
crazy.
it myself.
He's
Here, let me try.
Let me take a swing at it.
I've always wondered what it would be like.
It lobs his head off.
I mean, yeah, if he had died right there, the whole movie would have been over.
Yeah. Then we could have focused on the chubby guy's romance with that
Yeah.
one girl.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
okay.
You want to talk about Helm Hammerhand?
I thought we already did.
Um,
Didn't we? Kind of.
Just a little bit.
I think I've one. I think I have one thing I want to say about Wulf.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
I need to get off my chest.
Okay. I've got nothing to say.
Okay.
about him. I don't.
You know when Hera is kidnapped, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Right, and she's like, and he's like, gonna kill her. And then he's like, you know what? There can still be peace. We could still be friends. And she's like, if I marry you, you're not gonna kill anybody? And he's like, you're so arrogant. I cannot believe you. I was like, dude, she's just clarifying the terms. And his response is just like, I cannot believe the arrogance of your family.
Yeah,
that's
well,
scene.
It's like, that's
was
so
kinda
stupid.
dumb.
It's just his selfishness is because he wants complete loyalty from her. He doesn't want her
doesn't make sense to
question
me,
him
because
and
it's
his
like
motives.
it's like the whole point she would do that. You know, the whole point she would do that is to make sure nobody else dies. It's just like,
If I remember
But
correctly,
he still wants to demand like complete loyalty.
if I
from her.
remember correctly,
It's
from that
unreasonable.
scene-
I agree.
just
It-
to give-
I just don't think it makes sense as a response. It's like,
Okay,
I can
I
imagine
agree.
I can imagine a real human saying something like that. So
Yeah,
Really?
Because
Yeah.
the reason why
It's a horrible
I
horse
actually
thing.
agree with Baby Giraffe, and the reason why is because of the way she says it in that part.
yeah, I would
She
actually
says
call
it-
that as a mistake she makes.
She kind of says it. Now I also can see where you're coming from
Okay.
with just simply what she says. Yeah, 100%. The way she says it, I can understand his
If
response.
so, if in her place, instead of saying "if I marry you," if she says "I will marry you," I trust that you will provide peace for our land or something like that, like hinting at peace for the region while not undermining his
says-
authority.
She says
That
it
would have
in a
been
way
some.
that
That's
is
what he
fine.
wanted. That's what he would have rather wanted that to get complete. She didn't want him to. She didn't. He didn't want her to question him.
I
So.
just don't see it as a question so much as like a clarification. Like,
Well, he just didn't want that. That's what I'm
The
saying.
way she says it is very like confrontational.
Yeah,
Okay.
he didn't want that. He wants complete dedication, and he knows that's
I
what he's gonna
don't
get,
think I'm
so.
gonna agree with you on this one.
Okay.
I think
Alright.
I'm
That's
solid
alright.
on
That's
the.
alright.
I'm solid. Like
I will
that's a
say though,
ridiculous response in my opinion. Like, just that's not arrogance. Like, it's just not to say, if I do this, you're gonna do that. Like, oh,
Well, he just doesn't want to be questioned. That's what I'm saying.
well, like, how would you know what he's like? It's like, hey, we're talking about the same thing. How dare you? How could you say that to me? Your arrogance is inexcusable. Everybody's gonna die now. It's like,
that escalated real quick.
dude, I was just wondering, man. I just didn't know. I want to make sure we were on the same page. Okay?
Yeah, I guess
I don't
we could
know.
just disagree on that.
Yeah.
one, but-
Yeah, I guess.
I thought that part was really silly, personally. But
I would say it's wrong. It's wrong for him to say that.
I just thought it was silly. I didn't think it
Yeah.
made sense. I thought it was like, whoa, what are you doing, man? What are you on about now?
Yeah.
Wait, you want me to give everything you want so I can get everything I want? How dare you! It's like,
Well, he would have rather her just without asking trusted him to do whatever. He wants to be able to do whatever he wants without her input. That's what he wanted.
I just did not get any of that in the movie. I
Okay.
don't. I
For me, it
I've had enough talks with my wife. Like I know. Okay.
for me, it's just-
Wait, which character? Wait, which one are you?
yeah. Okay. Did we want to get to Helm Hammerhand?
Yeah, we can do that. I just wanted to say that before we
Yeah.
got away from him entirely, because
Yeah.
I don't think he's a very good antagonist, really. He's
Oh
pretty-
no, he doesn't
Yeah.
listen to the general, who literally has the correct answers for everything, and he's just like, nope, 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 nope,
Nope.
nope. I will take that suggestion and put it in the suggestion box.
It's
Let's go.
it's kind of like Wulf is just like, whatever he says, I'm gonna do the opposite of that. I'm gonna do this guy's an idiot. Whatever he says, I'll do the opposite.
Well,
That'll be smart.
we're shown that earlier in the film, like his plans work out perfectly in the first fight.
Yeah.
And then every single suggestion afterwards is just not taken, and it's
That
just,
general, he does everything right for his team, and just like completely ignored, like, and just like humiliated. Like, how could imagine as a general, you're like, hey sir, we got to do this, and instead of getting an answer, he just declares the opposite order. Like, instead of explaining why or doing anything, he just goes, everybody, we're doing this thing.
Also,
doing
he's
the
not-
opposite of what this guy says.
He's not very good at commanding the loyalty of his own men either.
No, I
because
mean that
there's
was plan was
parts
so
where-
short-sighted.
He lies to them, and
Yeah, it's
Oh
like
my
that's
goodness.
gonna really backfire later if you win, especially.
well, even if they win, they're gonna turn around and kill them.
Yeah.
Like
I know, because
If
there
they
won't be no
win, he
goal.
dies.
if he succeeds, he loses.
Yeah, if he wins, he dies.
Oh,
He and his generals, they all die. Everybody who's loyal to him, who his inner circle.
you literally
dead.
the people you are fighting with, you are paying. If you lie to them about payment, they will kill you.
Yeah.
That is how this works.
Yeah, I mean, like during the Revolutionary War, people would literally just leave the camp just because there was no payment. Like,
Yeah,
they'd
yeah,
just leave.
absolutely.
And you
like,
have to
we're
let that
gone,
happen
guys, sorry.
because if you lie about payment, then they will kill you.
Yeah.
Like you can't lie about that.
You can't just demand like loyalty and then not like follow through on your promises. It's
Yeah,
just not gonna happen.
And the general, again, he's coming in and he's like, we need to do this to end this war. We need to stop the war. Because that's really all he's got. You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't have anything else to offer other than, like, we got to stop the war. And it wasn't going to work. But hey, at least it wouldn't have gotten them killed, like, guaranteed by their own men.
Okay. I want to jump right to a scene. They're at Helm's Deep. We're gonna call it Helm's Deep, right? 'Cause
Yeah, I mean, I
what
don't-
it's called.
I don't-
That's what it is.
Okay.
I don't remember their name for it in the
The Hornberg.
Hornberg. Okay. So they're at Helm's Deep there, and
Yeah.
there
No, you're fine.
there
I just
is the
didn't remember.
General Wulf and the last remaining son of Helm Hammerhand. All right.
Oh yeah.
And the general's like, all right, make the trade. Like, we're gonna have peace. I think the general wants peace, right?
Mhm.
That's what he wants.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get his motivation. And then the guy executes Hammerhand's son. Wouldn't then the correct response be to kill Wulf, like right away?
Yes, if he were not loyal to Wolf's house, that's the only reason why he would stick around at this point.
But man, like I'm trying to, if his goal really is peace, like for the region, like man.
But he's also loyal to Wolf's house. You gotta factor that in.
Oh,
He's
but gosh,
clearly
letting
loyal to
Wulf
Wolf's
like
house.
letting his men starve and like die in the winter, like man, it's sieging it. Like he's literally saying we're never gonna get in, and he literally tells
Yeah.
them we're never gonna get in. We're gonna, so many of us are gonna die. Like
Yeah,
I think he should have just killed Wulf right then and there. He should have just done that.
but he's loyal to his house. You gotta remember that. And actually, you know, I always said there were no character arcs in the movie. I might be wrong. The general might have an arc.
Because he defies like the
He
defies
at the very end, he
one
defies
order.
one order.
One order.
So it might technically count as
It's
an
like
arc.
that one wolf from Kung Fu Panda 2.
Exactly. I actually really like that character.
That
I
wolf
really,
is way
Oh,
better.
he's cool.
He's
Yeah.
way better
I like
than
him.
anybody in this movie.
yeah, and he gets instant killed too. Like
Yeah.
but I really like that. It's a really good part of that
He's
film. So.
he's way better. He's way better. He's better than the general in this.
And
movie.
he says no way crueler. He like throws down the torch and
No,
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
Instead,
cool
he
scene.
just the general leans in and he goes, "No, she was right about you.
You're cringe.
You're cringe." I wish he said that. Would have been funnier. It would have made me laugh quite a bit. But nah. Yeah, Hammerhand. Here we go. I'm ready. Let's talk about him. What do you want to say, Seth?
I've actually said all I want to say.
Everything I want to say, I think we can cover in the battles or the fighting sequences. So
Yeah, you had brought up
Is there
that you wanted to talk
anything-
about him. So
Is there anything you want to mention about the cousin or the brothers or
cousin's super cool.
cousin?
He does everything right. Even his loyalty to the king, and even when the king like tells
Yeah.
him off. Good response.
He's the best character.
best character.
Yeah,
He's the best character. I liked him. He's the only one I liked. There was a line at the end where Hera's like gonna leave and he becomes the king.
She's like, I love you.
Yeah.
Bye.
She said you always have my, and then she listed a couple things and like and my love. And I was like
I'm like,
wait a second.
so you guys getting married? You cousins getting married, or
I know
not?
that happens, but like, I'm not.
Are you like second cousins or
How many
first
cousins? How many
cousins?
cousins are we talking? Are we talking like?
Because then we can have a
6, 7?
conversation.
Maybe once we get into
Yeah.
double digits, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. So, characters. Is there anything else we want to say about the characters? About brothers, maybe?
I really liked the guy with the axe.
Yeah.
The older brother.
I thought
Yeah.
He was cool.
I thought the brothers were all right.
that part where he jumps on the Oliphaunt and kills all those guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that was freaking cool.
That was kind of cool.
I don't think it was necessarily a very smart decision, though, considering everybody's abandoning the city anyway.
Well, I took it as he was trying to protect the hull. Like,
Yeah,
like it's
right.
going towards the hull. He's going to do everything he
But
can.
the
to
city
save
is
it.
lost. It's over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like how there was only nobility, like in that city?
um
The king was there, both his sons, his daughter was there,
Yeah.
and the fat kid and the shield
You're
maiden.
right.
Not a single soldier was there with them.
oh yeah, in the city? No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Why is the entire royal family
That's
in
actually
the city fighting with no other people?
Yeah, I think the king had
actually
the
a really good
royal
point.
guard outside of the city, which was not a smart move because, especially since he's shown to be such a protective father, he should be sending guards with his kids. Like
Yeah,
the
I-
royal
it's
guard
not-
should be
when you-
split up.
Why are you
between-
mounting an attack on horseback? Like, gosh.
When you are getting, and do you want to go into tactics now?
Yeah, let's go. Into
Okay, so
I think we're
when you
past characters at this point.
in a medieval setting, which Lord of the Rings is pretty medieval.
Yeah.
Swords and bows and arrows and all that. When especially a city like Edoras, when your city is getting sieged, what you do is you don't go out with a bunch of horses.
You're on a hill. The
all
city's
your
built on a hill for a reason, I assume.
Yeah. You dig a bunch of ditches around your place.
Yeah,
You get a bunch, like, as much defensive stuff as you can,
right.
and you go on the defensive.
I,
You
well,
can kill
I-
a lot of people.
To be honest,
Yeah.
having mounted like cavalry outside of your fortress, smart idea. So when they siege your thing, you can come and attack them from behind.
Yeah.
You don't full on frontal assault them. That is
Yeah.
like the worst
It's
idea.
not smart.
That is the worst idea you could
I think
have.
that's not even how you use cavalry
No.
in a medieval setting.
No.
Classically. Because what you do is you usually have your foot soldiers out in the front, and what you do is you kind of have your cavalry on the sides.
Yeah.
That
Well,
way
you
when
wait for the
when you
battle
go-
to start,
Yeah, then
and
your
then
cavalry
you
can
have
come
your
in on the
cavalry come.
sides.
Yeah.
You don't frontal assault into a volley of arrows.
No.
Yes.
You left your
Okay.
fortified position.
Okay.
Edoras is well fortified. It's
Right.
got a big
It's
wall.
on a hill.
It's got a big wall on a hill. You can dig
Right.
a lot of ditches.
Well, I mean, like, okay, it's like they think that both armies like have one army has one type of unit, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
the good guys only have cavalry, and that's it. There are no
Yeah.
foot soldiers.
Well, I hate to
there are
break
no
it to
archers.
you can make foot soldiers out of cavalry people.
I know.
By just getting
I
off the
know.
horse.
This is a problem with the movie. They don't have any they don't have a diversified force like at all militarily. They're all cavalry.
Apparently, they don't have any archers.
other-
I played Risk Europe. I know you need to diversify your armies.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other team, the bad guys, Wolf's boys, they've got mounted archers,
Mm-hmm.
basically like archer tanks with the Oliphants,
Yep.
and they've got tons of foot soldiers with all different types of weapons, which is not ideal. They should ideally shield and spear, but
But I mean, it makes sense if they're all like mercenary type. If
well,
he's paying,
they're the wild men, so it
but
makes sense
also,
for
like,
their
even
characters.
barbarians back in the
Yeah.
days of like the Romans, they did have some kind of structure to the way
Yeah.
they would fight a little bit.
Mhm.
Now, a lot of them didn't, but some of them did definitely.
Right, but like, and there were no formations.
Yeah.
On either side, which was ridiculous.
They kept saying "hold the line." I
I'm like, what
I literally-
line?
No
I
line.
literally said during the show, "What line are you talking about?"
Yeah, there is no line. There is no line. Like even when the armies are like approaching, the bad guys are approaching the city, they're just like running around waving their weapons in the air.
There's even a part.
There's no structure to them at all. There's no marching. There's not even like people traveling in groups.
Well, it's just a pure numbers game, okay? You're going straight into the army, right? The Rohirrim are going riding with their horses into a volley of arrows, right?
Yeah.
So you're already, when you clash together, you are going to be starting off in the negative, like you have lost men.
Yeah.
Opposed to if you stayed in the city and you guys were the ones following arrows,
Exactly.
you would have a head start.
Yeah.
Or even if you had a shield wall, then the volley of arrows would be significantly less effective, and you could still make an approach.
And there's even, like, when they're riding towards the volley of arrows, guys literally have a bunch of shields. They're not putting them up.
Nobody's using
no
their
one's
shields.
using their shields.
This is actually a big problem in a lot of movies. Nobody uses their
Right.
shields.
I was okay in the hand-to-hand fights. They use shields, like at least
what
Hera
I mean
did.
is, like, they don't use their shields when they're being volleyed on by arrows.
Which
That's like the main arrows. This movie hates bows and arrows, but when they do use them, they should be using shields to counter them.
Yeah.
Or even better than a shield, a fort. They should have just stayed in the fortified position.
The good guys.
Edoras is a good place.
The good guys,
defend.
they have 2 fortresses. Both times they're being attacked, they have a fortress that they don't use in the first one. In the second one, they don't fire arrows from it.
The battle
at
of
all.
Helm's Deep in the Two Towers is the exact way you are to use a fortress.
I know.
Absolutely. Dude, Helm's Deep's battle is peak. It is the best fight scene.
I will say, though,
the siege scene ever.
there's a couple of things they could have even done, though, in that battle, even in the Two Towers, though, that would have made it, like, a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a bit
Well,
easier.
the biggest thing when I watched Two Towers, I'm like, man, as soon as they're in range, you should be firing arrows.
Yeah.
But then also, maybe they just didn't want to fight. Like,
Well,
I thought that was the point, is they were trying to hold off as long as possible.
This is something that they would do a lot in
they do
medieval
have
sieges.
limited ammunition too.
Mm-hmm.
This is something they would also do in medieval sieges. That way, people couldn't get their ladders up and do different like siege tower stuff.
Yeah.
They just ditch around the castle.
Yeah.
Before they came, and it's so easy. You just get all your guys to do
Which,
that.
to be fair, they don't really have a big opportunity. They do not have much time to do that here, but still,
You could have just dug a little recess or something.
Well, the walls of Helm's Deep are so tall.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's insane. The
It's like,
height
oh,
advantage.
nobody's gonna use
The height
ladder on
advantage you
this.
have at Helm's
And
Deep
then these
is
guys
so
come
good.
in and they got these massive
yeah.
ladders.
I don't know why they don't use arrows.
They have one shot where one guy tries to shoot an arrow and it literally goes 100 feet.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have shot the heaviest bow I've ever pulled back was 45 pounds. That thing has so much power. If I launched in a field, I can't even guess how far it would go. It would go so far.
In Lord of the Rings, Legolas's bow is supposed to be around 150-pound draw.
Well, I'm pretty confident.
Yeah,
Like,
that's pretty
well,
crazy.
100
Which is historically accurate.
Yeah.
Well, 100-pound draw bows, that's standard
They're
as far as
yeah.
I know. Back in medieval times, if you're fighting that kind of arrow fire would go so far.
Yeah.
And you have got such a height advantage. And it's not but we have to individually shoot
Even-
people. Volley arrows.
Yeah.
Even-
that's what you need to do.
Even if you were flinging rocks at them, just do
Oh.
something.
Yeah.
Use the fortification in the first battle. Don't use the fortifications at all, and don't even try.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I will say one area I can understand about Edoras of not using it as a fortified position. The only thing is that it's so it's just out in the middle of a field, right?
Right.
Now you're on a hill, but you're still out in the middle of an open area, and it can be attacked from literally every single
Yeah.
side.
Well, that's why I do
Now,
think it would be good to have cavalry
Helm's Deep
outside.
can only
helping.
be attacked
If
from
they were
one.
hidden,
Yeah.
they were hidden and then able to come in from behind and
Well,
do an ambush.
even if they weren't hidden and it was just they were attacking from 2 different sides from the fortress and then a different side, at least then you would have 2 different attacking positions.
if you were able to
Yeah.
box the enemy in or something, then yeah. But
in order to attack, they have to be able to protect 2 sides.
Yeah.
Huge advantage at
Yeah,
that point.
That's a lot of the reason why forts historically were a lot of times built on either like rivers or against mountains
Yeah.
or against structures, or like that way the enemy could only attack from certain. Like
Well,
Helm's
it's-
Deep is perfect because
it's kind of the
Oh,
same
Helm's
thing.
Deep is so good.
it's so like the way it's designed is just it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's built on a mountain. You've got such the height advantage.
Yeah,
And it can only be attacked from literally one direction.
I know. I know.
yeah. I mean, it's the choke points. Like, it doesn't matter how many guys they have if they can only come through one at a time.
Yeah.
Unless you
So-
get a bunch of ninjas to scale down the mountain. Like attack them like that.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
Yeah, I didn't like how the military decisions they made in this.
Flaming arrows. This movie has tons of them. Why?
So as far as some from what I know, flaming arrows are impossible.
Yes,
Um,
but even if they were possible,
Even if they were
Actually-
possible,
which
I don't.
they're
Actually, okay,
they're
so
technically possible, but like practically impossible.
they did use
just
them
very
in history a
impractical.
little bit. They didn't use them that much, but just a little bit. And sorry.
You're okay.
And when it's just a habit.
I know. I have it too.
But when they did use them, it was only when they wanted to set something on fire.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I'm
That's
talking.
the
Like,
only
when
thing.
I'm, as far as I know, like to shoot an arrow and like to keep the fire, you've got to like forget
They
like
would
100.
wrap it. They would wrap it in a bunch of like
You-
cloth
you
and
can't-
tar and all this
You
stuff.
can't be shooting a 100-pound draw bow.
No.
Like you've got to
Yeah.
be shooting like a 20, like something super slow. That way the flame doesn't go out.
Right, and it's not going to help against people. It doesn't do
No,
anything.
it's
against
literally
people.
used to set things
Yeah,
on fire.
they would
Right.
never use them against
The
people.
only time you want to use that is if you're trying to burn down fortifications,
Mhm.
like burn down buildings and
Yeah,
stuff.
like as far as I know, Native Americans they used them.
Yeah,
I think they did a little bit when they would try to like.
Really?
I'm
I
sure
think
there.
so.
I'm sure there are
Okay.
some
Like
edge
there are
cases throughout
cases in
history.
history where people did use fire on their arrows to try to.
The
set
only
things
thing
on
Yeah.
the only thing I know is Romans is
Yeah.
they would burn down cities. That's the only thing I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like,
But as far it's kind of like the boiling oil thing.
Yeah.
It's like, could it have happened? Yeah, but it didn't really. They would oftentimes like.
Oh,
I think they-
one thing, oil was used to guard forts. They would have like the doors, and
Oh, yeah?
above the doors they have a grate, like
Yeah.
like metal, so
Really?
they could like poke spears down and stuff.
Oh, that's.
And when
awesome.
people are rushing, so that the doors here and the gates, no one can see me, but the gate is in front of the door, so
Yeah.
people have to go up the grates above their heads and it would
Right.
pour boiling oil
Oh,
over
man,
them.
That's rough.
yeah, it's similar to why you have masticulations.
You know what I
meticulate,
Yeah,
dude.
matriculations.
Fortifications, so nice.
Tolkien was actually really good at writing some of that stuff, and another reason why is because in Moria, you know the Bridge of Khazad-dûm,
Yep.
it was actually intentionally made that narrow because
Right.
that way if you had a sieging enemy and you had them standing on the other side, they could only cross single file.
Yeah,
it's
That way when they
tripled.
keep coming, that way you could have guys.
You
on
could
the
just
side
be
firing.
Gimli and just be whacking
Yeah,
them
just
off.
keep whacking
Yeah.
them off, and like it was so easy. Like
Yep.
yeah, that was
Well,
a really
like
good
fortifications, man, they're really good when they're used well. They're
Yeah.
Oh,
But
they
they
can do
aren't.
really cool.
this movie
They,
was like,
never use them well.
Helm's Deep. Was that used in a movie recently? Nah, we won't study that. We
It,
won't.
it feels like they just like watched Helm's Deep and then just like went from memory. It's like I've seen that from like I saw that before. I saw that a few years ago. I think I know how to do that.
Yeah.
And they just got it all wrong.
Something that you brought up earlier that I really liked, was that like how like they have like certain specific unit types and like
Yeah.
the Rohirrim like all they've got is like horses and that's it.
That's it.
And that one part where the guy comes and like saves them, you know, and he's got like Helm's armor.
Oh,
on
at the very
and
end,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're like up on that bridge thing. They're like in the Hornburg. They're in all those different areas. And it's like, guys, how are you gonna like kill all of them? Like,
Yeah,
where
what are you
where
gonna do?
go?
If they were up there and they had a bunch of archers, there you go. But if you're up there on a bunch of horses with swords, what are you gonna do?
I mean, guys, we've got this fort now, so we might as well just stay here.
hey,
fire
let's
some
just
arrows.
move in, you know.
Might as well, you know.
Just the archers are worthless in this movie. They don't
Oh, at
do
the
anything.
very
Kind
end.
of like your
So the siege weapon, the
Really
siege,
bad.
not siege weapon, the siege bridge thing falls over the fort, and then they start shooting at it. and I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, they
Where
light
were
that
these
on
archers?
Before.
These archers should have been nonstop shooting for months.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my goodness. And yeah, they spend the entire winter building this siege weapon that literally you just set it on fire, it's done. It's one bridge. You set it on fire,
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
And
Also, I didn't like the design for it at all.
it was
No!
awful.
Because if the way the mechanics worked and everything, if that bridge landed, there's no guarantee that thing's not just gonna snap in half.
I mean, it would shatter.
Yeah.
Like, it would break.
From how high it was.
Like,
This thing goes
This thing-
so
The
high.
Like-
thing was like a...
it is like in the clouds. Okay,
No,
like-
it's no.
No, I mean like it's massive. That's
like a
what I'm
theme
saying.
park
I'm being
ride.
hyperbolic.
It looks like a theme
It
park
is
ride.
ridiculously high.
like imagine like a small skyscraper.
Oh yeah, yes, that is
Yeah.
actually how tall it is. It's
Yeah.
a small skyscraper.
Imagine that.
It's so unnecessary.
In my favorite part of the whole movie is there's a drummer on the very top
Okay.
who's just drumming while they're cranking up this siege tower weapon
Right.
thing. And then I lean over to HM and I'm like, did the movie forget there's a person on top? Like,
No.
but no, they didn't. They flip it over and they kill him. Like,
Yeah, he dies.
their own team just kills them.
I have no idea. Okay, so
Did they tell him, hey, we're gonna let you climb down for like an hour? Like, that's how long it would have taken him.
Yeah.
It would have taken him over an hour to climb
I
down.
have no idea if that was the like intended. Was that supposed to happen? Was that
Did
their
it fall
plan?
over on accident? We're like, oh, thank goodness it fell over that direction.
Thank goodness it fell that way. Woo!
Like, it just falls
Thank
in,
goodness
it
it-
falls on all of them.
Yeah. Thank
Just
goodness
destroys
it
the
just so
entire-
happens to be perfect as a ramp to get into the base. Thank goodness. It's just so stupid. Can we just like talk about the mechanics of it? Like, how does that even work? They're just like pulling on ropes, and then like another tier to the tower like pops up.
There's no mechanics to
What?
it.
How does that work? What are they thinking?
I don't know.
I'd even, like,
It's just like a wall with like two supports.
designing
in a
something like
triangle.
that, you would need, like, an insane amount of, like, they did show, like, a chain of people pulling it, so I guess. But
But, like-
man, it would be so heavy. Oh, I can't even imagine.
And
When the wind hits that thing, how are you going to keep that
Oh.
from turning over, tipping
Right.
over? It's impossible.
You should have just built actual siege towers. Like, they were calling it a siege
they
tower.
called
It's
it
not
a siege tower. Yeah.
Siege towers were actually a really good idea.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
And it would have taken so much less time.
So,
just
like,
make several
in the
of those
movie,
things and-
It's like a triangle. It's one is a solid wall, and the other two are supports.
Yep.
And that's it. And then they pull on the ropes, and another one pops up on top of it. Now, I don't know how that works because it's not like it's telescoping. Like, it's not a telescoping.
I thought that's what it was.
So, there's no way. There's no way that's like a
That,
telescoping
that's what it
wooden
has
structure.
to. That's what it has to be.
Right, but logically that doesn't make sense, right?
No, it
Right,
doesn't make
okay.
any sense.
I know. Okay, I'm just making sure we agree. So logically, it cannot be what it is, which is a telescoping like wooden structure that like builds a small skyscraper ramp, right? And
But that's the only way it makes sense. That's what it has
right,
to be.
it has to be that in the movie, which is
They just
a
have a
dumb
wizard with
idea.
them.
It doesn't make
They
any
just have a
sense.
wizard with them and he just does that.
Compare that to a siege tower, which is a box. It's like a tall box with a ladder in it.
That you just move.
That-
You just move the
on
whole
wheels.
thing. Yeah.
On wheels. It's a tall box with a ladder in it on wheels, so that way you can get to the wall, climb up the ladder, and get on the wall.
Yeah.
That's it.
Simple.
Like that's the goal. That's the simplified
I
version.
mean, the
They
pulley
could've built
system on this
so
thing would
many.
require so much rope.
Well, yeah,
So much rope to go back and if it truly is telescoped, like
right.
you'd be going up and down
How
on every side.
much time did they spend building that thing? It was like months, right?
But yeah, I would
Okay.
assume 3 or 4 months.
And that's so much material. Like a small skyscraper of wood. And
Rohan is not that heavy with trees.
yeah, so you've got to import that too. So take that time, that manpower, those resources,
Except for
and
the
build
horse.
multiple siege towers, which you can easily do because that ramp has to be so much taller than a siege tower would be
Yeah. Well,
because it's a slope.
honestly, like siege towers for Helm's Deep, like man, Helm's Deep is just so tall.
It
I
would be
I would-
difficult.
I would just say, just go for what they did in the 2 towers. Just do ladders. That's what I would suggest.
Right. Ladders would
Ladders,
be better.
and then do what else they did, and then just have some guys over here like trying to get the gate down.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
one thing.
with the gate, you almost could use a siege tower
Well,
as long as
with
as long as it didn't get
With
destroyed.
the gate,
They don't have arrows, so you can just go right
with
up
the
there.
gate, if you had like a covered battering ram, then you would be pretty much that.
Yeah.
Like that's all you would really need. You don't even need the months and months of prep. You just need a couple of days to build some ladders, get a battering ram, maybe maybe 2 or 3, just so you have backups. Break down the door, climb up the walls. You're in. Get them done.
Also, you could hire a certain white wizard to create you some illegal bombs and set them next to and set them next to the wall and light them up.
Okay, I didn't even know that was an option, but okay, yeah, do that. If that's an option, maybe you should go get some more of those mercenaries with the Oliphants. Maybe if you just got one of them.
Just keep sending an elephant
Yeah.
in just until the wall breaks down.
Well, they wouldn't be able to kill them because they don't have arrows. They wouldn't be able.
Yeah, I mean they're not using their archers
Wait, guys,
anyways.
they're almost here. We can use spears, but not arrows. Don't use
Don't
the
use
arrows.
arrows.
Don't use the arrows. Don't do that. Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tactics in this movie don't make any
Okay.
sense. And even in the personal fights, when it's just like 1-on-1 or just like one on a few, you have people jumping over each other.
Oh my
Like
god.
they do that like 3 times in the
Doing
movie.
flips.
It's like
Where they-
playing.
Not even a flip, just like a straight jump over.
So there are several times in this movie where it's one person fighting.
One or a few.
Oh, I would one person at a time, but it's endless. Like there's
Yeah.
a stream of people. That
Okay.
happens a few times.
Yeah.
And if I'm one of the person who's like in line to fight this guy, right? Are you thinking like, man, like this person just keeps knocking us out? Did just one person? Can one person get? Hey, time out, guys! I'm gonna go run and grab like a bow and arrow. So when it's my turn, I can just shoot the guy. Like, can one person decide? Hey, this person is just obviously outmatching all of us 1-on-1. Let's just shoot him. Like let's just shoot him. Like,
Or maybe not even that. Maybe they should just gang up on them all at once.
yeah.
Because they always attack separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of the Helm Hammerhand one, where like 1 or 2 people come out at a time.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if it hasn't worked all night long, one person might decide to run back and grab a bow and arrow. You can like 2 people sure go up as soon as they fail, knock them out. Like,
Which, okay, we haven't even mentioned, but Helm Hammerhand's death is so unnecessary.
Yeah.
it's like he wants to die.
Yeah.
It's like he
Oh yeah,
wants
he
to die.
so could have lived.
So during the movie, Helm Hammerhand goes into like a coma or like a sickness because his sons are dead and he's really sad. Then he disappears.
Well, also, he got heavily wounded.
Oh,
He
yeah,
had, like,
and he
Shot
got
with like
shot,
5
yeah.
arrows.
And he got,
Because
well,
enemy had arrows in that battle.
Right, yeah, of course. But then he disappears, and then both sides start hearing rumors of the ghost of Helm Hammerhand, like
which
the
was
wraith of
that
Helm
part of the
Hammerhand.
movie was really bad.
Right.
Written.
So they
Cool idea. Not really shown very well.
no.
No.
And so eventually, like Hera finds out, oh hey, there's a secret passage. Oh hey, there's some like 2 orcs and a troll. Oh hey, there's my dad. And then she's like, okay, Dad, we gotta run for it. And they do. They run for it, and they get to the gate because they can't go back the way they came.
And they're having a lot of trouble getting the gate open. I assume it's
Right.
because it's frosted over.
That's
Yes,
what they say. They
yes.
say it's frozen shut.
4 guys doing the pulley system, whatever, couldn't open up the
Yeah.
door.
And then he comes up and
Yeah, with his bare hands, I'm like, man, I think if you just had a few more people like tried to help with him, you probably could get it open a little more.
Or like Baby G mentioned
Yeah.
during the movie, why don't they just throw him a rope?
Yeah, you could just give him a rope.
Because there's way more likely to just like, oh hey, let's grab a rope, toss it down to him.
Hey, the door is broken. We don't want to risk, even if you didn't want to risk having it stuck open.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Just go ahead and lower him a rope right away.
Yeah.
Like right away.
So they either could have sent more men to help open the door quickly, or they could have tossed him a
where are
rope
those
and
guys
pulled
that
him
were
up.
just doing the police system?
Yeah.
Get them on the door
Guys, come out of the closet and let's go open the door.
for our king.
But then,
Come on.
so he opens it just enough to let his daughter, Hera, go through.
Then he closes
Then
it.
he closes it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't want anyone to try to help you? Like, to get it open?
No, because he sees the bad guys coming and he's like, well, I guess it's too late. time to kill him.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be too late if they had archers above the door
Covering
for him while he climbed
Which-
on over.
Which they do. They're just not doing their job. Like, you see,
They're
there are so
lazy.
many times where you see the archers on the walls, and they're just not doing anything. They're just standing there dumbfounded, like, I can't believe this is happening.
Like, the ramp to Helm's Deep is constructed in such a way that you can't get that many people up at once.
Right, it's
You,
a
a
choke
row
point.
of, like, 4, maybe, at the most, if
Right.
you're, like, marching.
It's
But
a-
if you're, like, running, you want to have, like, 1 or 2 people. You don't want to fall off that thing.
Yeah.
And it's snowy. People have to go
It's
slow.
icy. They show
You
somebody
can for
tripping.
sure, like 4 guys would be able to keep off any amount of people coming at the king.
Oh yeah.
And
Definitely.
that's all you need. It's like 4 people.
Again, you don't even need to do that. You have archers. You just
Ah.
use the archers. If they just woke up instead of going, I can't believe the king's gonna die. Like, they're just sitting there on the wall, just like, I can't believe he's gonna die. This is crazy.
You could, if they had archers, if they had 4 archers, they could have legit had sent someone over, built a campfire, and like had the king like sit and had a tea party with the king like overnight, and they would have been fine with archers covering for them.
Their own,
But
only-
no.
But if the bad guys use their
Right.
archers.
Oh.
But I mean, the archers would be able to stall long enough to toss him a rope and get him over,
Yeah.
or for him to open the door and walk
Or
in
he
and
could have
jump the
stalled
door.
for himself. He's a good enough fighter.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Well, he did. He did. That's the thing.
He lasted a
he
long
made it
time.
like, oh no, I have to close this door because it's like a time issue. We have to get this open in time because there's a time issue. But there's no time issue
And
because he lasts the entire night.
Again, just if the archers were helping, they just throw him a rope, get him over. But instead, they're just like, I can't believe he's gonna die. How's
Well,
he doing that?
Even, oh my goodness, even if they didn't even save him, like I said, they could have built a fire next to him and he could have just kept fighting all night next to a fire and been fine. Right?
Yeah, he would have.
They should have saved him. They should have saved him. Obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or
You're gonna leave. You know he's fighting out there.
you didn't
You're
send
not gonna
an-
do anything about it.
even if it was impossible to save him, even if it was impossible to throw him a rope, if he wanted to stay out there and fight, I would think
He's your king.
he's your king. Soldiers should be going out there to help him,
Yeah.
like, and dying with him.
Or
Like,
again, at the very least, the archers should be helping him.
oh my goodness,
'Cause,
these
like,
archers.
Literally, the archers would have been there all night. They would have just sat there and watched him die.
They're literally just looking over, like, "Hey, you want us to cover for you?"
No,
like,
I'm
no, I
good.
want the exercise. Watch this. I'm gonna pose real quick, or I'm gonna freeze to death. Hey guys, is this a good one? Maybe you think I should put my arm higher or lower? Maybe hand on my
He's
hips.
like, what do you think?
He's like, they're literally trying to throw like a lasso around his waist. He keeps taking it off. Like,
I don't think that's my colors. Let's try something else. I want to look good when I die. Okay, guys, come on. Hey, don't steal my kills. Don't do it. Just archers getting ready to shoot. Don't steal my kill. That one's mine.
he literally grabs the arrow out of the air, like he's like, no.
He grabs it and just stabs the
I
guy.
did like the king's son, like, it knocks one of the arrows out of the air
That
with
was
his sword.
funny.
I'm like, oh my god.
That was funny. It was goofy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I didn't like this movie.
Anything
I thought it
else
was
we
pretty
have
bad.
to talk about?
Particularly the
Um,
fights. The fights just drove
yeah.
me bonkers.
Especially
man.
when you have like the really good ones from Lord of the Rings to compare it to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really didn't like it. I think I didn't like I don't think they used the anime like style very well here. Not the art style, but like the style of animation.
Well, they didn't use it in the fights, like,
Exactly.
that impressive. at
Which
all.
is the point. The whole point of anime is like we're saving the budget to have like a big burst where we just spend all the money on all these really cool things, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Usually fight scenes, right?
Well, the fight scene, the quote unquote fight scene of Helm's Deep, was so like scattered, like had so many
Yeah.
small things.
I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
at
well,
all.
what was the plan? What was the villain's plan? Was to use the giant siege tower that at best would last for, I don't know, 20 minutes before it got burnt down. How
Yeah.
many guys are they gonna get through? Like, you can
Yeah.
only go 2 at a time, like, through that thing.
Should have gone with ladders. Should have gone with ladders. Should have gotten battery and ram. Would have been better.
Or do what the general said and not attack, just starve him out. Like,
Well, he
historically,
wanted to retreat.
That's how
that's how you fight castles, is by surrounding the castle
Right.
and not fighting. That's how you
right,
defeat
you're
castles.
right. But like, he said that they wouldn't be able to do that without losing a lot of their own men. They wouldn't.
Well,
be able
because it's
to,
winter. Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to supply themselves. They wouldn't be able
Yeah.
to protect
That's what's
themselves.
so good about Helm's Deep. It's so well fortified.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
So like, even then, it's not great. But like, yeah, it was not a good finale. There were not a lot of fight scenes where I was like, oh yeah, that's where the budget went. Most of the time, it was just like, all right.
Now the budget went to getting some AI voice for Christopher Lee to come back.
Oh yeah, that was really weird. I was like,
Did they
They're
use
not-
AI for that?
I actually,
Or did they just-
I don't know. It might be deleted footage. It
I-
sounded really good, so
I thought it was just like a recycled line or something they used.
it probably was.
And I think that would probably be smarter, but probably be cheaper
Yeah.
to just dig one out. But because he only has one line in the film.
Yeah.
he's been in a ton of movies.
But anyways, like I don't think they really took advantage of the benefits of anime like style animation very well with the fight scenes. And then you still have the drawbacks, which are you do not get like subtle facial expressions and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
when you hear anime Lord of the Rings, forget whatever you're imagining. It's not good. It's not what we got in this movie.
You're not
Yeah,
going
we
to
did
get-
not get-
It's not really like I was at least expecting it to maybe look really cool,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it just didn't. It really didn't.
Yeah. This
I like
was
the
not-
eagle. Eagle looked cool.
Eagle looked kind of cool. There was one shot where he looked so like a pigeon.
Yeah. There were a couple shots with the eagle where the scale wasn't really coming across very well. I know at the beginning it was kind of intentional, so I'm not really talking about that. But like later in the movie, there are a couple shots here and there where it's like, that doesn't look very big to me. I don't
And
know.
then there's one shot where he's like freaking massive.
Yeah, and then there are a couple shots where it's like, oh wait, yeah, that's huge.
like,
but yeah, I wasn't crazy about that. But like you miss out on all the like the subtle facial expressions and stuff to tell like
yeah.
how a character's really feeling about things. All the subtle acting you can do with that when you do the anime as like an art style, like not an art style but an animation style. You lose out on that, and it's like if you're going to lose out on that, which I think is really important, and I value it a little more than the fight scene stuff, then your fight scenes better be stinking good. Like
Oh, my
they better be
goodness.
great, but they're not really great. I mean, like, what do you think is like the best animated part of this movie?
I don't know. That's actually really good.
I do like the style, like the styles. Like I like how everything looks. I don't like it when it's moving, but like if I just saw a whole bunch of pictures,
Okay.
if I saw a whole bunch of pictures from this movie, out the most of it, I would say yeah, it looks really
Right.
I
good.
mean, even that picture you have pulled up right there on the computer, him like in background of like with the fire and
Yeah,
everything.
the poster.
I think that
Yeah.
looks really cool.
Yeah, there were a lot of points where I'm like, hey, that looks cool. If only it like wasn't a movie.
Yeah, which is what I was asking is which like animation part. So when is it moving? Does it look best?
I would say I really liked when the focus stayed on Helm Hammerhand during the fights.
Okay.
Because like the fights were all super choppy.
Yeah.
But whenever it would linger on him for a couple people at a time,
Mhm.
like his motions and stuff,
Actually,
looked pretty cool.
you're really correct on that. I mean, the part where he's on the bridge, like the
Mhm.
ramp, there were some parts in there that looked really good.
I think he's probably, as far as the like main cast goes, he's probably the best animated character in the fights because his hits like they have a good sense of weight behind them and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Well, everyone like throughout the whole movie, he literally knocked this guy out with one hit.
Yeah, he
he's
killed
like,
a man
look,
with one punch.
he's like, no, he can't be dead. I just struck him the one time.
you saw.
Yeah. He's like in disbelief, like how weak this guy is.
Like, I can't kill somebody
But
with
then-
just one punch.
But
That's
like
impossible.
I think it like twice, or maybe it was just once. People in the council was like we fought with you, like we know like how great you are. Oh no, it was his son. He also said he's never
Yeah.
lost a fight. Like he's insanely good. And so like you built this guy up, and then when you see him in the fights, they really they linger on him a little bit,
Again.
and you're like, well, this guy's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Again, He should have been the protagonist.
Oh my goodness, yes.
He
If
should
he
have been the
was, that would have
protagonist.
fixed a lot of the movie.
I mean, you'd still have to rewrite a lot of the plot and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, he has way more potential as a protagonist than his daughter does.
Both his sons get killed. Like, can you imagine the
Yeah.
character like work you can do with
And
that?
it's kind of his fault too,
Yeah.
because it's because of his pride of not wanting to abandon his city. Just like, again, like, I get why he would do that, which makes it like a good like arc.
Yeah.
You can do stuff with that.
And he has to come, like he has to be the one to call for his cousin to come and save him.
Right.
But nope. He
He
basically kills himself.
Easily tie it into like an arc about pride. Easily do that.
Yeah.
Hera, what's her arc? Nothing. I don't want to get married. Okay. She doesn't
That's
get married.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Which I thought there was a funny line about that too, where when they're trying to get like they're trying to propose it, they're talking to her specifically. Like the fat guy, the fat dad, he comes out and he's like, "So, what do you think, princess? What are you feeling? You like it?" and then her dad like cuts him off, and then afterwards she's talking with Wulf, and she's just like, "Our fathers act like I'm not even here." It's like, he literally asked you, "Hey, what do you think?"
Yeah. Well, the son
What do you
literally
think?
says, "Hey, I'm coming to ask you."
Well,
like,
not the son, because she said the fathers specifically. She
okay.
was
Yeah.
complaining about
You're
them.
talking about that. Yes.
But his dad, Wolf's dad, specifically addressed her and said, like, "What are you thinking?
He
You
did.
feeling it?"
He did turn. He did then turn to say. He did turn to
Right.
Helm
'Cause
and say, "It's up to you." So.
the king interrupted, and yeah. But like, even though he's clearly doing it to antagonize, he did talk to her. I just thought it was funny because it was like, that's not true.
It's not quite how it went.
That's not true. Granted, it wasn't like a respectful thing. He was doing it to antagonize your dad, but like, still, it's not true. And again, I don't think Hera, given her culture and society, I don't think why does she have that position anyways? Why does she think that way? Why does she think, hey, I should be the one to make my decision about marriage, when her entire culture, that's like a foreign concept?
Yeah, I do think inherently like people do want to make that decision for themselves. Like, if we were to go back in time and talk to people who were in arranged marriages, I'm sure they would have.
Oh
liked
yeah,
to.
like people did
I mean,
hate it.
maybe, yeah.
I mean, from what I know, like arranged marriages has been the thing for almost all of human history. But like it would only happen if it would most likely only happen if both people like still agreed to it.
Yeah.
Like if they both were like adamantly against it, it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
You can't really force people to live like forever if they hate each other. Like it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But the thing is, most people were just okay with it because that's what happened.
Yeah.
So
which is
it's kind of odd that it's just one.
right.
This one character is
what
just
I'm
an
what I'm
outlier,
trying to get
so.
at is just like, I think that's just modern sensibilities trying to project on a character from a completely different culture.
100%.
Yeah.
No,
100%.
yeah. 100%. Like there definitely was that stuff
Yeah.
going on in that movie, and I already knew there was gonna be that stuff
Yeah.
in this movie before I even watched
mean,
Yeah,
it.
because in the real world, or in this, what should have happened in the story, her dad's like, "Hey, you're going to need to get married." She goes, "I don't want to get married." He's like, "You're going to get married." It's just like,
That's your job.
well,
Your brothers
I
are
did-
supposed to fight in war. You're supposed to get hitched. That's how it goes.
I actually really liked his response when
Yeah.
he was like, "Hey, do you want me to get married and leave? Is that what would make you happy?" And I really like his response, just emphatically, "Yes, I want you married and away, and you'll be alive, and
You'll be safe."
that's what I want."
Yeah.
Because that's his responsibility, is to protect her, and I just really liked how
Again,
emphatic
with
he
the
was
whole
with
king
that.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta do stuff to
Like-
keep people safe.
And not only that, but again with the whole Hammerhand should have been the protagonist. It's like, just good line.
That was it might have been like my best like emphatic like statement from
Yeah.
him. Was just it was a really good scene. I like.
He has
Yeah.
the most potential in the story, like definitively. He should have been the protagonist. He's right there. He was the protagonist in the source material. The story's about him, right? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
making that up.
100%. No, like yeah, when Tolkien wrote about it, like it's 100% about him.
again, it's just like, why didn't you do that in the movie? The story
They
is
actually
about
made
him.
there is actually even a Lord of the Rings game called Shadow of Mordor. where they actually tie in the Helm Hammerhand story with ring wraiths, and he actually becomes one of the ring wraiths, like one of the 9.
Oh,
Wow.
that's not good.
No, it isn't. Man, I've heard a lot of good things about that game.
The story I've heard is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, he's right there. That's all. It's just like he's
Yeah.
right there. But you couldn't do that. You couldn't just let him be cool.
It's really cool with the at the end there.
What did you
Once he was a block of ice.
Oh,
So it's cool.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, you were gonna ask a question.
I was gonna ask what you thought of the Eagles and how they were used.
Not my favorite, but
Okay.
I mean, I don't have any, like, I don't have too many complaints about it. One thing I didn't really like is she, like, goes through all this trouble to climb this ice mountain. And, like, you know, they drag out this thing with this eagle. He comes in and he swoops down and, like, grabs Wulf at the end. And that's, like, the only thing they do to help them in the end.
Yeah. Well, he delivers the message to the cousin.
He delivers the armor.
Yeah, he delivers the armor to the cousin.
And that's what brings them to them.
Yeah, okay.
I
got you.
And he doesn't grab Wolf at the end. He grabs the sword. That's the only that's the only thing he grabs.
He only grabs the sword?
He only disarms
I thought he grabbed Wolf.
Nope, because remember he's like there with the sword like pointing to Hera, and then the eagle swoops down and she's still there. He's still there.
Oh.
It's just the sword. That's the only thing he grabbed.
I thought he got swooped up at the very end. Like, I thought that was how he died. I didn't. Well, no, I guess, yeah.
Nope.
No, you're right.
Nope, it was just the sword.
Yeah.
I was super confused. I was like, oh, why didn't he just grab him?
The whole use of the eagles has always been a little bit weird to me, because even in Peter Jackson's movies, and even in the books, like, there's just not that much clarity on what their job is and what they're supposed to do. But in the books, it does have a part where it actually really gives a specific, like, description of what they are, where they come from, and what their job is.
Okay.
And what they are is, so there's a high being called Manwë, and he's a god of Middle Earth, basically. He's one of them. Like, he's not like the high one, but he's one of them. And he's...
Sorry.
The high one.
Not the high one.
Manwë, the high one.
Whoa.
But yeah, anyway. He is in charge of those eagles, and they're like emissaries of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically gives charge over them to, like, do whatever he wants them to do. So they're basically connected with the Valar.
Yeah, well, that's what I always thought. That's why the wizards and the eagles are so closely tied together.
Kind of. They don't really specify that much in the books whether the wizards are or not.
Okay.
I don't think. But, like, I mean, the whole thing with the butterflies and the moths, that's not even in the book.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But, which is sad, because I actually like that.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool. But, yeah, there's a lot of that's not really written about them, and it's like, if somebody wants to take some liberties, in the movies with them a little bit, that's alright.
Yeah, I was just curious, because I don't know.
They just didn't feel that important to me in the movies, and they just kind of felt a little random in the movies. I don't know why, but
okay.
Because, like, in the books and in the Peter Jackson movies, it's like they're more like kind of these mysterious creatures that only show up, like, at the most random times.
Yeah.
And in this movie, they're like just kind of flying around. They're like kind of whatever, you know.
Yeah, that's what I didn't really understand.
It's like they're kind of just here, guys.
Like I figured these I from what I knew of the eagles, I thought
they're almost like supernatural beings.
Yeah, that's why I figured
like
they're in charge of something on Middle Earth.
Yeah.
And the only reason we as an audience interact with them at all is when in the Peter Jackson movies, a wizard, another emissary, like in charge of Middle Earth, has contacted them.
Right.
And that's why we see them.
Yeah.
And now so it makes it weird that this random girl is like having like a meat fest with this.
They feel more like
Yeah, I thought it was weird that, I don't know, they just felt less like grandiose.
Yeah, because they're treated more like just a regular creature of Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Whereas in the other ones, they're actually like they play a pivotal role in the will of the Valar.
It feels more like how like D&D treats like dire beasts, like dire wolves and stuff. It's like, no, they're just kind of like big animals that are smarter and stuff, but like they're just kind of around.
Yeah, they're not special. They're just
Yeah,
around.
they just didn't feel as special in this one, which I didn't think that was consistent.
Yeah.
with.
Also, they started the movie with like a shot of them like flying around. It's like,
Yeah. I think that part of that was to kind of fake out like how big they are. It's like, are these the giant ones? I don't know. Oh yeah, hey.
They are.
They are.
Yeah. And they aren't supernatural beings. Like they are. Like you can kill them.
Right.
Like you can
Yeah.
kill them.
Yeah.
But like they are.
You can kill Gandalf too, but
I mean, yeah, but he's like a wizard, so.
he'll come back better.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why there was the white eagle. The eagle, the white.
oh yeah.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
You died before.
He got killed.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What did you think of the fan service at the end there with
Oh, we mentioned
Gandalf
Gandalf
and
and Saruman.
I was thinking in my
I cannot
head,
wait. I don't know about you guys. I cannot wait for the sequel. I am over the moon excited.
I can
Gonna have Gandalf in it.
I could wait forever.
This movie only got made because Warner Brothers needed a movie to to keep the rights to Lord of the Rings. So maybe we'll get another one in 10 years.
I'd much rather
Yeah.
them have the rights to Lord of the Rings than some other movies.
I would just rather nobody have it.
Actually,
just
you're
go
kind of
public
right.
domain. Just leave it alone at
actually,
this
you're
point.
kind of right.
Because man, Warner Brothers is desperate right now because they are not doing well. I think they're still technically bankrupt.
I was listening to a podcast and the question was asked, if you could have any actor play any character, who would it be? And the guy, without any hesitation, goes, I want Ian McKellen to play Gandalf. And someone's like, he did. He goes, I know, and it was perfect. He goes, do you want it again? He goes, no, because that was in The Hobbit, and I didn't like that. So I won it once, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just once in a while.
I don't want anything else. We can cut it off.
Yeah.
We made the perfect trilogy. We don't need anything else.
Another great casting, Michael Caine as Scrooge.
I haven't seen.
Actually,
What do you, no, it's
Muppet Christmas Carol.
yeah, exactly. What are
Okay.
you talking
I
about?
have
You
seen
haven't
that.
that.
Okay. Sorry.
I thought he was fine as Scrooge. I don't know.
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought he was pretty
No,
good.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Just like after, like I grew up with Albert Finney as Scrooge. That's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw like every Christmas. And then I saw this like Muppets Christmas Carol, and I was like, oh, Michael Caine as Scrooge. Like, okay. 'Cause
I like them.
Yeah, I like them.
I love the Muppets Christmas Carol. I think it's
Mm,
amazing.
yeah.
I saw it like 5 or 6 years ago for like the first time, and I was like, oh, this is good.
Yeah, it's
good.
really good.
It's
One of the
really
best Muppet
good.
movies.
It's great.
They should make Agent M and I. We might have been talking Muppet Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I would be down with
A
trying
Muppet
to-
Lord of the
yes.
Rings would be
I
amazing.
Actually, would be. I
would
watch
love that so much.
I'm actually surprised they haven't made that.
I mean, they don't have the film rights.
Yeah.
Disney
I
has the Muppets, and they're not doing. They basically
They do-
shelved everything
they-
with the Muppets.
The stuff
now.
they've done with the Muppets is bonkers to me. Making
made-
an animated like
Muppets
cartoon
Babies, yeah.
with like, oh, they got some really cringe stuff in there, man. Oh, it's so
Yeah.
bad.
I don't even pay.
Well, I mean,
attention
like,
to that.
if you think about it, it's like they've done 2 movies, one TV show on ABC, which had its moments. Granted, I mean,
Mhm.
we've gotten some funny memes from
Yeah.
it, so it can't be all that bad. And then like Muppets Babies, and that's it.
The Muppets Babies, man.
That's all they've done with
Isn't
the Muppets.
there a bunch of like really?
Yes, that's what I was
Yeah.
referring to as.
Yeah, it's got
Stuff in
it's
it.
got a lot of political junk in it. So
I think I've seen some clips of that.
yeah.
Oh, it's not good.
So
And they're not even
Oh
puppets.
wait, no.
No,
I
it's
actually
animated.
remember-
It's animated. It's not even. It's the Muppets. What are you doing?
I remember something. Gonzo.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, that's what
that is
everybody-
what I am specifically referring
He's
to.
such a funny choice for that because he's canonically he's got a female.
Well, every scene with a chicken. Whoa.
It's like it's kind of an odd choice for that, even if you believe in that stuff. Okay. I mean, the ABC show had some funny stuff in it. That's about all I can say for Disney's run with the Muppets. Like, ugh. Guys, what are you doing? They're the Muppets. They're a big deal.
They're a gold mine.
You could do so much with them, and you've done nothing. Like, nothing good.
That's kind of the case for everything.
They just buy things, and they're like, oh, okay, now we'll just put out a few movies, and it'll keep making money. And they just don't make the movies good.
So
and then it stops making money, and they're just like, maybe people
We'll
don't
buy something else. We'll buy something else.
Yeah, maybe people don't like that. Maybe we should buy a different thing. Maybe that would be smart. It's like,
We were wrong. People don't like Star Wars.
People don't like Star Wars. They were lying to us. George tricked us. We're the victims here. We didn't totally squander the absolute gold mine of money.
I know I've said this before, but back then when I didn't really care about Star Wars that much.
Yeah.
So, like when the last trilogy came out, like
The sequels,
I just was kind of like, I don't really care that much. And then like, you know, all that stuff happened to Lord of the Rings, and I was like, this is what everybody was.
It happened to me. It'll happen to you too.
Oh, you like whatever franchise it is? Just wait. Your
Just
turn
you
is
wait.
coming.
It's coming. It'll happen.
It will.
It's like the Puss in Boots. It's Disney comes for us all.
Man. Anyways, we were talking about War of the Rohirrim.
Nah, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Say something else about
I
it.
feel like there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, I didn't think the directing was very good in terms of like the camera shots and stuff that were used, and the editing to a degree.
No, I hated it.
Yeah, I think editing wise, you can definitely cut this movie down, like quite a bit, like significantly.
There's a shot. So we're gonna show this person riding a horse. Why do we need a close up of the field, like for like solid 2 seconds before we pan up?
It doesn't even pan up. It cuts.
It cuts?
It cuts, yeah.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
man.
I'm pretty sure it's a shot of the field like moving by really quickly, which is kind of disorienting. It's not very clear.
Yes. And it's not like we can't even see the sky. It's legit only the field.
It's only the field, and then it just cuts to a higher vantage where the horses are in view. It doesn't even like pan up. It's not good. And then of course the one we mentioned earlier with like the panning across the still image. That they do that a couple times. The spinning, which they do too many times and for too long. I
was actually kind of surprised with how little like shots there were of like landscape and stuff like that. But then at the beginning I didn't like it, so I wasn't that upset there wasn't as much of it because it wasn't good.
The opening shot is of a CGI mountain. It's like a 3D mountain, and it doesn't look very good. It's not terrible. It just doesn't look very good.
Yeah. When it happened, I was like, oh no, like is this what it's gonna look like? But then I did like the characters and then how they looked. So
I just wish they matched the background. I wish the backgrounds were more cohesive with the characters or something like that.
Well,
like they just don't look like they belong.
Even if they're not, like my I think the best looking animated movie is Sleeping Beauty, and the characters do not match the backgrounds at all.
Well, that's a little different, but yeah.
Yeah, but I still
like I feel like in Sleeping Beauty it kind of like they don't match the backgrounds, but it matches the movie.
Oh yeah. It works so good. It works so well.
For some reason, it just does.
It just doesn't feel like the characters actually there.
They don't look like they're in the world. It looks like
which is something that like Cell.
It looks like a bad green screen,
right?
Like throughout most of the movie.
Which is something that Cell animated movies don't really have. Like most of the good ones don't have that problem.
No.
Even though the art style for the backgrounds is painted.
Yeah.
Which is very different from Cell's because those are simpler because you're actually going to have to redraw those a million times.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it just didn't look very good. And I think there were a couple of shots that were framed a little weirdly. Like I remember there was one shot. I think it was when they were about to jump onto the horse, which was dumb. Which we need to talk about the escape scene.
Oh no!
Just real quick, we'll need to talk about that before we end because that's really stupid. Where the horse isn't quite like all the way in frame, like it's cutting off just like a bit at the top of the horse's head. I was like, that doesn't feel intentional. Like I know it would have had to be, but it doesn't feel intentional. It doesn't feel right. There were a couple shots like that here and there.
With animated movies, I always say like every frame should be purposeful. Like you can control everything.
Yeah.
So whenever you get a shot where it's like, really odd decision. Like there, like what are you doing? Like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that shot? We may have mentioned this earlier, but do you remember that shot of the Oliphant's face, like right up in the camera?
Yeah, with the
The
eye.
the jump scare is that what you're
No,
talking about?
it's
Or
like-
Or
Or when it first
like
comes up?
screams. It's not.
I don't remember.
there are a
It-
couple of
It like
screams.
takes a
so.
second for it to go away, and it's like,
I will say there's some editing issues, like you're getting at,
yeah,
where there's like
it looks really weird.
there's a weird pause before the shot ends, when it's like, okay, this needs to end like a second sooner. Like it's just not quite right. They need to cut. It's like there's like a pause. There's a couple of times
Very awkward.
between dialogue where like a character approaches and then it like they take a full like a
Couple
second.
seconds.
like a second.
It feels long.
It feels long. It doesn't feel natural. It's just like a second pause before they address them. It's like they notice they're there and then they wait and then they talk. It's like if I were to walk in the room and then Baby G were to turn around, the pause would be like,
That's awkward.
exactly. There are a couple moments here and there that do that, which in anime, that happens sometimes with dubs because they try to match the lip flaps and sometimes that doesn't work out the greatest. But like, this was made to be in English, I'm pretty sure, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so why are there these weird pauses? If this was made to be in English, why are there these weird pauses? Why does the dialogue, like the lip sync is off? It's like not super bad, but it's noticeable that it's off. And it's like, why is that happening when this was made for this language?
Okay, I know this is a little off topic, but talking about languages, bringing me back to the orcs, they talked really well.
That's
like
true.
really proper.
Yeah.
They didn't speak in what is it, black speech?
Yeah.
Well, I was expecting at
And-
least a gravelly voice,
Yeah.
but we didn't get that. Like
Yeah.
it was just literally you could have convinced me they were a normal human. Like
There are
With the
some
voice.
books.
They didn't
of
look very
Tolkien's-
grotesque, so
Yeah. There are some books of Tolkien's where they do speak in like. Wait, actually, no. In Lord of the Rings, they speak English.
oh well, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
they can sometimes, but like when, if you're with somebody,
actually in D&D it's common, but
yeah, when you're with somebody and you can speak the same, like you both have the same native language, and you both know like a foreign language.
Yeah.
Which one are you going to default to most of the time? Probably going to be your native one, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not a huge deal. It's just kind of like, huh?
well, I'm okay with it being English. Like
Yeah.
I just wish it would have sounded like an orc,
Yeah.
like a little gravelly, a little
Yeah, you're
rough.
kind of right about that. I didn't actually even. I'm surprised I didn't notice that, but yeah, I don't remember.
It's
the
a small
orc things.
detail, so
They were only in it for like a couple seconds, so
yeah, they were not a big
They
part
were
of the movie.
collecting rings.
Eating people. Which
yeah.
that one shot of the rings in the bag, they put that in the trailer as if
Yeah,
it
they
was
did.
something really important. It was not important, like, at all.
You
Oh
know-
no, it wasn't anything.
It didn't matter.
I thought.
You know what was in the trailer that wasn't really important? Hera.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Man.
so you want to talk about the escape scene where Hera's kidnapped? I assume that's
Yes.
what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was so,
So-
funny how they left her in the cage
Okay.
with just a bag over
Right,
her head.
so-
and nothing.
So, right after Hera deals with the Oliphant by having the octopus eat it, the big scary octopus thing eat it, which I would assume is a real thing from the books, right? Maybe?
I don't know.
I was
Maybe
thinking,
not.
I was.
wait.
It took me back to the
What-
monster in.
What are you asking? Sorry.
The big octopus thing? In the
It
swamp?
reminded me of
The
the
eight-
one that
it's
was in.
supposed to be the guy literally
Fellowship?
refers to it as a watcher in the water, which that's not actually the technical name for it. The
Okay.
creature itself,
Okay.
but they're trying to imply that that's the same kind of creature from the Gates of Moria and
From
the
Fellowship.
Ring.
Okay.
That's what I
Okay.
thought when I saw
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's
So-
what they're doing.
Okay, just clarifying, because again, I've only watched the original trilogy of it
Yeah.
one time,
Mhm.
and I haven't seen the extended at all. So,
Oh,
Um,
you need to do
I've seen all the extended Hobbits, but I haven't seen the extended Lord of the Rings.
They're really good.
Except for, I might have seen Fellowship.
Extended Lord of the
maybe.
Rings are really good.
That's
You
what
need to
everybody
watch them.
says.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
They had like 40 minutes to the movie or something.
It's quite a bit.
yeah.
It's like a lot.
But anyways, so she talks to the general that was exiled, gets a bag thrown over her head, and then it does like a fade cut, does fade and then cut, and she's in a room with the bag over her head. She wakes up, she takes off the bag. Notice she is not tied up in any way, shape, or form.
The
No
door's
chains,
door's not
no
locked.
ropes. I was getting to that, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
So she takes that off. Then she opens the door, and she looks around, and she's like, "Oh, my horse is eating at a time like this." Oh.
that line almost made me laugh because it was so bad. But
It's funny. It's like, it's a horse. Yeah, it's gonna eat. Like, it's an animal. You can't be mad at it for eating food. So she walks through the unlocked door. She sees that. Then she wanders off up the stairs and goes into the headquarters of the boss, the wolf.
can you imagine? No, she wakes up. There's another prisoner there who is eating food. And she just immediately says, "What? You're eating at a time like this?"
I've been in prison for 5 days. Yeah, I'm eating at a time like this, sister. You kidding me? You eat when you are fed. but yeah, she just walks through that unlocked door, goes straight up to the headquarters, the boss of this entire encampment, like basically their king, walks in and starts rifling through his things and goes, "Oh, what's this? Oh, what's this?" And then he just comes in and he's like, "You never knew how to keep your nose out of other people's business." Like, basically, that's it. It's like, why was the door not locked? Why was she not tied up in any way? Like, manacles, rope, anything. You just threw her in there with a bag over her head and an unlocked door and go, "Yeah, that's good enough." And that matters. Like, that's a really big deal. It's the whole reason why she's able to progress the plot.
No, I don't think that much issue with that actually. With her not being tied up, because he might have been coming to get her anyway.
No, I mean like the unlocked door and stuff. Just the fact that she's able to just get out.
to go around anywhere.
Yeah. Even if she was coming to get her anyways, like she should still have her
I
hands
took
tied.
it like by the fact that he didn't come in on her, like he was just there. I thought he was like watching her the entire time. That's what I took from it.
If that's true,
I
then
don't-
that makes sense.
I don't think there would have been a way for him to, though.
I thought he was just standing there the entire time, and he just decided to interrupt her.
You mean
That's
in
it.
his room?
Yeah, like out there,
Okay.
like because the door is like opens right to that room. There's no hallway or anything. It would just cut right to her in that room.
No, she goes outside first.
Well, there's a balcony, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, from where he's standing, he should be able to see her the entire time.
I still don't like it. I still think it's a bad idea, but I still think even if you want your prisoner to, like, you want to talk to him and stuff, you should still keep him, like, tied up
Well, remember,
and controlled.
like, for him, marriage is still on the table for like 2 seconds. So
Yeah, I know, but like
this guy's a little weird.
still, man, like, I don't know. I still wouldn't want to do that because, like, if she was tied up, if her hands were tied, even if it was just her hands were tied, even if the door was still unlocked, if her hands were tied, she really wouldn't have been able to escape. Like,
Okay.
She couldn't find
Okay,
her.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
real with her. Like,
or ride her
she
horse,
still
really.
shouldn't be able to escape.
No, she shouldn't. But like, still,
Nothing changes from when she quote unquote gets rescued, from when like she first gets out of the. Nothing changes.
Oh.
She could have gone out, escaped the same way.
okay. Can we
Also-
agree that it was stupid that they didn't do anything like that? They didn't tie her up. Or anything?
No,
No?
I won't say that.
actually do agree
Okay,
with you
thank
on
you.
that.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll be outnumbered.
Like
but-
it.
I just don't see why you wouldn't do that. Even if you want to like talk to her, you can still like, just bring her in
Also-
the room when you're ready for her,
Another.
You could. I mean, yeah. I
and
guess
not
if you,
let her go through your secret plans, which really stabs you in the back later.
I would do the whole good cop thing where he rushes in. Oh, I can't believe they tied you up. Like, oh, like try to be all nice to her, try to get stuff out of her.
Yeah, I mean, he could have done that. Could have done that.
Something also about the escape scene that really bothered me is when she and that other girl were on the horse and they were riding away. They
Yeah.
like went through a big crowd of those guys and they did nothing.
No, they
No.
didn't do anything.
They just could have like put out a spear. Just put up the
Yeah,
haft of the
and-
spear and the horse would like trip over it.
And of course, they had the like immunity to fall damage.
Well, that's
Basically.
Oh, 3 people in that scene.
Yeah.
And like Hera,
it's just
She
travel.
she was probably the one that was the most okay. She probably would have survived. She falls
She
on
would have
like,
survived, but she would not have been able to get away.
well, it would have been on a tent. Like it would have taken her a long time
It
to get
wasn't a
off.
tent she got on.
Well, she fell on.
No,
Yeah,
she didn't fall on the tent.
what she fell on?
That was wooden.
There's no way that
I'm
was.
pretty sure that was
There's
wooden.
no way that was wood.
It did not bend like a tent. It did not have any like cloth physics to it.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's a tent. If it was not a tent, her legs are messed up.
Yeah, like
Okay, but she's the most likely one to be okay. Second one is the 55-year-old grandmother, right?
Which those
Yeah.
knees have seen better days.
which even if it was a tent, if Hera went on it first, that tent's broken now. Like it's not gonna hold.
I mean, if it's a tent, I would say it should catch people. Like it would be able to catch people.
Really, you think
Yeah.
a tent is that strong?
Absolutely.
What kind
From
of-
like a full
How
story?
strong is this tent? Is it like a now? Are we talking like a normal tent, like of like the modern day? Or are we talking about like a canvas tent?
A canvas tent. That's what
Okay.
I assume. Like,
I don't know, man. I
A
don't.
canvas tent, I think it would definitely pad it some. I think you'd still get hurt.
Yeah, I'm not.
well, that
I'm
depends on how
not
high
thinking
you
it's
are.
gonna like break through the fabric necessarily, but I'm thinking about the supports. I don't think the supports are built to hold that.
I'm talking like they're like pillars, like holding this thing up. I would say.
It depends
We
on
don't
what kind of
see
tent,
that,
too,
though.
because
We
you
don't
might,
see that at all.
Well,
like
it's
some
big.
tents
It's big.
that will
It's
have, like,
it's
spine going across
it's got to be super big. Like for
I don't.
there to be a flat part of a tent, that means there has to be two.
I do.
main
It is
supports.
directly next to the building.
I don't know.
It is
If it
butted
was
up
like one of
against
those
it. I
big,
don't
giant
think so.
community canvas tents,
Yeah.
I think you'd actually be fine.
Yeah, that's what I assume when I saw it.
There's no way it's that big.
If it's a wooden structure of some kind, yeah, your legs are
toast.
You're
done.
not getting away. Yeah, you're not getting away.
Just
Yeah, but that when an old lady jumps, like, it doesn't matter really what you land on, because yeah, it would break your fall, but like, when you're that old, you just got nothing. And that's after she fought off 3 people at once.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no way.
So she should already be dead.
Yeah, and then of
So-
course there's the cousin who just
And-
jumps off the side of a...
no, forget the fighting off 3 people. How did she get there?
Yeah, that's true.
oh my
They
word.
never show how she got there. How
This
she slept
is
through
the
entire camp.
this is the king's office, basically.
Also, how did
Yeah.
she know that she got kidnapped by those guys?
She didn't know. How did she know the location of where she was imprisoned? Because she would have known that she was taken by. They
had
left.
they had the eyepiece. Thing.
Yeah,
they had the that don't exist.
Yeah.
in Vulcan's
her
Fall.
one possession was left behind. Her
Oh.
one little tube thing fell
Yeah.
on the ground,
Yeah.
and there was a footprint, so there were tracks. So they
Okay.
could have gotten to the camp, but how would they know where she was imprisoned? That's a better question. How would they know where she's imprisoned, and how would she get there?
Even if you know how you get there,
Yeah.
yes. You sneak through the entire camp and get into essentially the king's office.
I
Yeah.
mean, if their
Good luck.
security
Good
is
job
as good as
with
the
that
prison, then maybe it makes sense.
That's
If
that's
it's
why I
as
say
bad
this
as
this
the
lady
prison.
is a Mary Sue because she can just do whatever.
Yeah.
So they're riding off. They survive jumping off onto this either tent or wooden structure. They're barreling through the camp. No one's doing anything to stop them, and they still have to get past the gate. So what are they gonna do? Oh no!
Cousin's there.
Yeah, cousin's there. He takes out, I think, how many soldiers? 3 on each side.
I think he takes out. I think he definitely takes out
4,
3
I
on the
think.
first side, and then he shoots across and takes out at least 2.
At least 2. So 5.
Also,
5
he
of them.
jumps off.
They
that
don't.
structure.
They don't.
That's
show
the
last
that's the
yeah.
fall that made me so mad because
Yeah.
that must be 20 feet. Like,
Yeah, it's at least like 2 stories.
and there's nothing to break that fall. You are going right on the ground, my friend.
The visual excuse they have is like it's a slope at the very bottom, but again,
That's worse.
After,
You would be fall-
after the fall. That's after he's already fallen, like at least like 1.5 stories. There's no way.
That's worse if it's a slope. You fall, you break your ankles, and then you fall down on your face.
There's just no way.
Like, there's no, oh, I'm just sliding. Oh, gosh. Like, that fall made me so mad.
Parkour. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that guy's ankles and legs are done.
Yeah, that was really dumb.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
any redeeming qualities?
redeeming qualities.
Yeah,
And the cousin was cool.
it was cool.
Oh, Hammerhand was cool.
The fights,
Sometimes.
some of the fights with Helm,
Yeah.
Hammerhands. I did like
Except
his
for-
son. His son was cool. I liked the Oliphaunt. Like him.
Yeah,
playing
the sons
Oliphaunt.
were all right.
I didn't like the second son. He took way too long to shoot arrows.
That's true. He did.
He was probably in charge of teaching all their archers, and that's why. Also.
Yeah,
Just everybody in the entirety of Middle Earth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't that old woman burn his lyre or whatever?
Oh, that was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
You got the whole movie. The Lyra's like, "Oh, we need fuel. Oh, can we burn this? Yeah, go for it." Then she doesn't burn it, and
And
Hera
then she gives it to
Hera,
the little
yeah,
kid.
Hera gives it to a little kid, and then later in the movie, at the very end, she has it on her pack, so she took it back from
I
the
saw
little
that.
kid.
I was
It
like,
wasn't
what?
Hera that gave it to the little kid. It was the old
No,
woman.
I
Oh, it was the old woman who gave it?
The old woman gave it to the little kid and said, "Our people still have some songs left to sing," and then she gave it to him.
And then Hera the next day was like, "Give that to me."
It's like, that was my brother's. Thank you.
Or even worse, she just took it for firewood. It was like, "Hey, that was supposed to be firewood."
You're supposed to burn this. We don't play music here. My brother will be the last musician of the Rohirrim. No more songs for you, boy. Just, man, that was dumb.
It was rough. The
Yeah.
whole experience was kind of.
I really didn't like this movie. I saw Baby G in the theater, like, rocking back and forth with
Well,
his head in his
well, that was when the son was taking forever to shoot.
Yeah.
He was taking so long. I'm like, walking. If me in the 21st century, right? If I could do a better job, like defending myself, than these guys in Middle Earth, like a prince,
Yeah.
then we got problems. We got big problems with the story.
Yeah. This movie could be so much shorter. Like, with good editing.
I felt like
you
it was
could
really
cut-
long.
Yeah, you could cut
It
this
did feel
down
pretty
quite
long.
a bit. There are so many little things you could just cut out. Easily shave off. Maybe, like,
Yeah.
at least, like, what, 10 minutes?
Yeah, it's an app. It's 134 minutes. So
It
it's pretty
says
long.
music by Stephen
2
Gallagher.
hours, 14
The
minutes.
music was by Hans Zimmer, my guy.
Some of it, yeah. Man. Peter Jackson, what did you do? Did you just take a paycheck? What is this, man? Come on.
You gotta pay up on the stuff.
Just, what does an executive producer do? Like, man,
You know,
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
you know what's gonna be next for Lord of the Rings
Oh, no.
content?
No. I
No.
don't.
The Hunt for Gollum.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You're right.
You're right.
You're right.
I have
Based on
no
based
idea.
on the hit video game Lord
Go-
of Ring Golem. That did so well. They were like, we should make a movie about that guy.
That game is funny.
Game is so bad, man.
What do you even do in that game?
Die on purpose and not on purpose.
You glitch out. You suffer.
I mean, do you like fight?
It's supposed to be like a stealth platformer or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not good. It doesn't work at all.
Hmm.
It's one of the most broken games in recent memory.
Thought I saw a guy playing it one time. I was like, that does not look fun.
My favorite thing about the game is that there's like a moral question you're constantly asked.
Oh
is
yeah.
whether you save this bird from dying or not, and you get to choose. The player gets to choose, and everyone's like, "I'm killing the bird."
It's so they have a moral system, like a good evil system sort of thing,
Okay.
where it's
Kinda like
Golem versus
RDR2.
Smeagol. Possibly. It's like
So,
Golem versus
way
Smeagol.
worse.
You're basically given a choice,
So if you're like Smeagol, you could choose to save the bird, but if you're
Yeah.
Gollum, you would choose to kill the
right?
bird.
And then
Smeagol? Yeah.
and then whoever wins it, which you don't just get a pick. Like, I'm pretty sure there's like a chance that it won't work or something.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
that's great. I
I'm
love
pretty
that
sure
in
it's
video
not
games. I love not
guaranteed.
getting to choose what I want.
That might
to
be
do.
wrong. That might be wrong because
That's the
I've
point
never
of the game.
I've never played this game and I never will, so I might be wrong. But at the end it says Golem won the argument or Smeagol won the argument, depending on who you pick. So which is pretty funny. That was a little meme that went around for a
Sounds
little while.
kind of like a dumb game.
It was.
It was pretty
That's
bad.
pretty bad.
Did you play it?
No, but I've watched playthroughs of people playing it. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty funny though to watch other people play. I will never play it though. But yeah, that's War of the Rohirrim, and
Yep.
a couple of other things that we threw in there for no real reason, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. I had a good time.
Talking about it,
Yeah.
not watching it, but, you know, talking about it.
I actually did enjoy watching it, but only because, like, it was something interesting to do,
Yeah.
and also I enjoyed doing it
With-
with you guys, so.
With Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, we were able to watch it in the privacy of a home, so we were able to pause it and laugh.
Yeah.
With this one, I feel like if we would have been able to do that, it would have been a lot better. Just
Yeah,
because
possibly.
there
I
were
don't
some
know.
shots that were like crazy.
There are just some things in Ralph Bakshi's that are just like hard to beat. Like Gandalf's pointing in
Oh,
Ralph
yes,
Bakshi's.
his
Oh
gang
man,
sign.
that's so funny.
for me, the worst part of the entire movie was the 30 seconds of the orcs running through the field.
But it,
Like,
it was
it was
funny though.
so long.
It was really long,
I
but
think
it
my-
was funny.
I
Come
think
on.
my least favorite part about Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings was the ending.
Yeah.
And so ends the first story. Wait, hold up. Hold up.
Of the Lord of the Rings, Frodo and his friends conquered the eagle.
He
through
throws
power
the sword up
of
that's gonna kill somebody.
friendship.
He throws
What
his sword
about
up
the
like a
ring?
graduation
You
cap.
jumped up and got in front of the TV and were like,
What about the ring? I was so mad. I didn't understand. I'm like, what? The ring is like the most important object in
Yeah.
the universe. And we defeated evil. Like, whoa, what? We
Yeah.
defeated evil?
through the power of friendship.
Frodo's just like, don't look at my hand.
I do remember that. I jumped up and was like
Yeah.
furious. I was, what? What about the ring?
See, that was fun to watch. That was
You
fun to
didn't
watch.
think it at the time.
Yeah. I mean, just the really boring parts were bad.
That's why I tell people it is almost unwatchable.
Almost.
It is.
But the parts that are funny bad are so funny. Like, they're so
It's just
funny.
not worth it. It's not worth
But, I mean, that's what the fast forward button's for. Come on.
it. You would just be skipping the second half of the film.
Exactly. It's perfect. That's all you gotta do. You're just in it for the laughs. You get your laughs, you get out. That's all you need.
But I would not even recommend this one for
Nah.
laughs.
It's not funny
Unfortunately.
enough.
Yeah, this one didn't have the humorous
It
aspect.
wasn't
Oh, no.
super funny bad, no.
No.
Unlike a couple other things, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Red One was kind of funny bad. Not enough.
Not
for,
enough.
Not enough for a second watch. But
Is
Yeah.
Red
you know.
One that one that just came out like really recently?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson has been.
We were gonna do a save the
Horrendous
script on it for like a
Oh,
Christmas one,
I
and then
actually-
literally 2 days later, M's like, I don't remember that film.
It wasn't 2 days. It was a week. Come on.
I saw something about that movie, and I just
Yeah.
like anytime I see Dwayne Johnson as the lead role for a movie anymore, I'm just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Yep.
nah.
Yep.
He used to be funny bad. He used to be funny bad. Come on. Now he's just bad.
I think he's still good in Jumanji, the first one. I
Yeah.
liked him.
that was years
He was
ago.
because you're literally playing. You're watching a video game character.
That was
character,
years
like-
ago at this point, though.
Yeah, that was a long time
That
ago.
was a while.
Moana. He was good in the first.
Yeah,
Moana.
again, well, that was like 2016 or something. That was ages ago. It was forever. It was still in the 2010s. It was late 2010s. It just, man, he used to be funny bad. Jungle Cruise.
He
not
should have been
funny
Hell
bad.
Hammerhand. He should have been Hell.
You know? Oh, shoot.
Okay,
no.
in the live
Something-
action adaptation.
You know one thing I'm really nervous about with Dwayne Johnson
Oh no.
is that they've talked about making a God of War.
Oh yeah,
movie.
they better not do him.
They've talked about using him, and I'm like, nuh-uh, don't do that.
They better not.
That would be so bad. I hate that. No.
Especially since the guy who actually does it in the games, he's so good. Like
Yeah,
he's so good.
I would just advise not doing a live action
Yeah, no.
adaptation
Sure.
of
I mean,
those.
the only thing I would want from it, I wouldn't want it live action. I would like an animated version. That
Oh,
way
yeah,
you could
yes,
share it. That way
yes.
you could share the story of Ragnarok easier with people. Because right now it's like, okay, It's like 3 hours, like 3-4 hours, something like that. And that's kind of hard to recommend to people.
Yeah, well, like there is
If you just watch the
character
cutscenes
stuff.
from the games, I've never played the games,
Yeah.
but I've watched a bunch of the cutscenes.
Yeah, and there's
And-
like story stuff in the fights too. So it'd be
Oh, it's so good.
yeah, it's I really like Ragnarok.
It's jam packed, but man, like I wish I could share it easier because it's a really hard sell. Even just the story is a really hard sell.
You know what one movie is that I'm actually really excited for?
The Mufasa, the Lion King.
Oh, dang it, no.
Okay, what are you excited
Have you seen a trailer for 28 Years Later?
Yes.
I think I've heard of that.
I literally saw the trailer when it first came out, and I was like shocked with how like drawn in I was. I was like, this is a good trailer. It's a zombie apocalypse.
I'm gonna skip it. I don't do zombie
It
movies.
looks really good.
Okay.
And yeah, there's a lot of...
Have you seen a lot of zombie movies?
Some, yeah, I like zombie movies when they're
Okay.
done well.
Have you seen Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I.
You've never seen Zombie Island?
I told you that during Halloween.
What?
Yeah. I told you during Halloween time.
That's one of the best.
The only Scooby-Doo experience is that time I watched it here.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Like the old stuff.
I've only
Mhm.
seen the Batman crossovers. And like what's new Scooby-Doo.
Man, that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking to a guy who's seen too much.
I
I've seen,
know.
I've seen too
Oh,
much.
I've also seen Ghoul School. I watched with that with
Oh
you.
yeah, Go
Christmas Eve,
School.
so-
It's fantastic.
Yeah. I watched that with you Christmas Eve because it's tradition. So.
Yep. Sure is.
So
Oh, my
yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Anyways, I guess we better wrap things up because we're not talking about War of the Rohirrim.
Yeah,
No,
anymore.
I was gonna go on a tangent talking about more zombie movies. This episode.
Yeah.
We could.
I like some zombie movies.
I've only seen besides Scooby Doo, I've seen one. So
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, what was it?
Train to Busan. Have you seen Train to Busan?
I never even heard of that.
It's a
South Korean.
yeah, it's a Korean film. So,
Yeah.
but it's on Amazon Prime, I believe. It is pretty good. It's pretty good.
There's one called Kingdom, which I thought was going to be pretty horrible, but actually turned out to be really good. It's
Okay.
it's a foreign film. It's like Korean or something like that.
Okay.
Don't watch it in the English dub, because it'll be so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Train to Busan, I watch subtitles.
Yeah, subtitles are always better. I hate it when...
Hey,
English dub,
hang
so-
on now. Are you telling me the Pokemon anime is better with subtitles?
Well, I've never seen the Pokemon
The
anime,
dub
so I
is
have no idea.
legendary. Okay, it's funny.
I've only seen the dub, so yeah.
it's
I
really funny.
But I don't know. Subtitles can be really distracting because
Yeah.
because I'd like to just watch the actual video. But I got used to it pretty fast. So.
Yeah. And
It
also, like,
depends
when it's
for
a
me.
zombie movie, it's like you kind of know what's going on. You know what I mean? There's not really much.
Yeah, I would still like to see the characters' faces and their emotions
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
But with Train to
Kingdom
Busan,
is really well written.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
there are a lot of moments where you don't even need you can understand what's
Like,
happening
the
just by
guy-
watching the
Yeah,
characters.
the main character, he's kind of starts out like his development is really good. I really like it as a character, because like he starts out as kind of this like weak kind of ruler, and he's kind of like got this position of like all of a sudden he's got the weight of like the world on his shoulders,
Mhm.
and all these people like want him dead and everything, and he slowly kind of like he's the kind of the first like person of royalty that kind of figures out like the stuff about like the virus and everything.
Okay.
And he's kind of like, he kind of becomes like this really strong leader and everything. He even like gets in on like some of the fights and stuff, and he becomes like this like guy that everybody kind of looks up to, and he
Okay.
kind of leads them. And
Okay.
I like it.
Pretty cool.
All right.
Pretty cool.
It's-
Well.
Yeah.
Are we done?
You wanna well, you haven't seen zombie
I haven't.
movies.
I don't watch zombie movies.
Okay. Okay.
I don't like zombie movies.
Anyway, now back to not talking about War of the
Yeah.
Rohirrim. Any closing thoughts about the whole movie?
Did not feel as much like Middle Earth
Hmm.
to me, at least.
I
Some
think
moments
I
did.
think that's fair.
There were moments that did, but overall, if you're
Oh.
looking for a Middle Earth experience, I would not recommend. this
Yeah.
movie.
Mm,
I had one last thought actually that just came up.
okay.
So the Gandalf part, at the very end,
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cringe.
How does Gandalf know about this lady? How
I
does
don't
Gandalf
know.
know about the orcs like
I
picking
don't,
up
I
rings?
don't know. I don't
They
know how he
died.
knows about that.
He died and Helm died. So the only other
Yeah.
person who knew about it was the girl.
Yeah, I don't
The main Hera. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how much I know.
And not that much time has passed because the city is still in ashes. It's still like ruined. So it hasn't even been that long for him to find out.
Maybe the Eagles.
Maybe the Eagles.
He goes like, I was watching these orcs like eating these guys, and they kept like coughing up rings. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Rings, sorry.
I was almost gonna compliment them for having restraint because they were like, "Oh, he goes by many names." It's like, okay, everybody who knows anything about Lord of the Rings, it's Gandalf. Everybody knows that.
Mm.
But like, then they were like,
Then they're like,
then there's like a solid pause, and then it cuts, and it's like,
they pull out
but
the
in
letter.
the common language, it's known as Gandalf.
Well,
Like,
they pulled it out, and I
yeah.
recognized the rune. It's the Gandalf rune.
right, but
And
then
it's
they
like,
didn't even stop there. Then they explicitly said, in the common language, it's known as Gandalf. It's like, just
Stop talking.
Stop it. You could have left it at just like, he goes by many names.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the scene in the Battle of the Five Armies, at the end of the Battle of the Five Armies, when
Yeah.
they talk about Aragorn.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was bad. I remember, like, I was not that much of a Middle Earth fan, or I that was the first time watching the movie. I'm like, wait a second, how does this timeline work?
Yeah.
I'm like, this
In that
is-
movie, Aragorn is 4 years old at that time. He is alive. He is alive.
And so
but I did the math
Yeah.
on the timeline, and he's 4 years old.
I'm like, so how does this guy know about him?
Find a baby. His
His
name is
whole
Strider.
he's already going by a synonym.
Exactly.
You
He's
find this-
4 years old.
You find a version of Aragorn, but he's like this tall.
It's already going by Strider. That's
Gee
great.
whiz. Yeah. My closing thought: bad movie.
Yeah.
Bad movie. No watch
I
it.
like how simple
Yeah,
your summary is.
I don't like it. I really didn't like it. So
Yeah.
It's gonna. So what does Warner Brothers have? That's not HBO. It's Hulu. No, it's HBO.
yeah, I think
It's Max.
Warner Brothers is Max.
Max.
HBO Max, which is just Max.
It's just Max now. So, and no one has that, so I don't want to watch it. So,
Yeah.
no recommend for
They
me.
have a shockingly big library because Warner Bros. Owns a ton.
Well, yeah, they've got the second Shazam movie, the second Wonder Woman movie.
I'm talking about classic cartoons mostly, but some classic.
Oh,
films,
good
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
They've got a lot of good stuff on there. That's like, yeah, but I don't want to pay for that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
I
would rather just
buy
own
my
it.
movies.
Yeah.
So,
I would rather just own it.
yep,
Anyway.
absolutely. And I'm not gonna own this one.
Nope,
So,
it's not a good movie. I don't
Nope.
want to watch it again.
nope.
I've kept Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, just in case.
Good luck getting someone else to watch it.
Just in
Hey,
case.
in 2 years,
In 2 years.
or even a year. Actually, I'd do it right now.
You're addicted, man. There's something wrong with you.
If we could get a group with new people involved, I'd be down to watch
No,
it again.
it would take.
It would
Hey,
be
you would.
if
so
me,
funny.
you, and like maybe 5 other people got together to watch it, new people, who
Yeah.
had never seen it, would you do it?
Come on.
You
It
gotta
would-
do it, man.
It would take an awful lot
Come
to
on.
convince me to
Come
watch
on.
it.
We'll break.
You got-
I'll buy pizza.
I'll bring the movie.
I'll buy some pizza. We can have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, like.
I mean, come on. It would be really funny to see at least the first half. At least the first half.
It
People's
wouldn't be as
reactions.
enjoyable for new people because I would just still be complaining about everything that's going to be happening.
Yeah, but it would be funny to see their reactions to Gandalf's gang signs. Come
you ever seen
on.
that?
I would,
Putting
okay,
it right
I might be convinced to watch like the first half, but there is no way I am sitting through
Just
the whole thing.
Suddenly, I feel very ill.
Yeah, good luck, guys. They defeat the evil. They never mentioned the ring.
That would actually be really funny if we all just like slowly like left and just left the new people to finish it. So
We get someone else to host it, and then we just leave.
As soon as it starts getting bad, we just start like disappearing.
The second half of the movie.
We just go home.
All right, guys, I gotta head out. Sorry.
Yeah, you could just give me the DVD back sometime. You know, whenever I see you next, never see them again.
They would have such a bad time. Oh my gosh. That's evil. That's like actually evil. Like,
Okay, well we wouldn't actually leave them.
Oh,
I mean, you
Lord.
might, but Come on, Seth and I are better people. We're not gonna.
Let's be
abandon
honest
them.
here.
Come
Let's be
on.
honest here. I would leave.
Yeah, you probably would.
Oh man.
It's unwatchable.
But the first half is so funny. It's so funny.
I even think the second half is funny at moments.
Yeah, there are
Well,
moments
I mean,
with the orcs running for
yeah.
a long time. That's one of the moments. That's funny.
You timed that, didn't you?
Yeah.
no. It just kept going, and I just like yell out, "What is happening?" It's just going on for so long, and then it kept going.
Didn't I just go, oh no, they started it too soon?
Yeah, HM's like, "Oh no, they started the scene way too soon."
Oh man, my face hurts.
If you can't tell, if
He
you
had like concept art in the movie.
Yeah.
They didn't have time.
yeah. If you can't tell, Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings is it can be a funnier watch.
It's memorable.
It's memorable.
Oh, you'll never forget
If you're
it.
looking for a funny bad movie, that one can definitely be funny bad. Not all the time, but when it is really funny bad.
Oh man,
so.
you know what I thought was kind of funny bad was what was it? Shark Boy Lava Girl.
Oh yeah, that's not even.
Hey, that is a masterpiece.
That might be my favorite movie of all time.
I mean, it's definitely the best movie of all time. So.
Oh
yeah,
man, I don't even know what to think about that stuff.
Like for me, it's between the entire Lord of the Rings Extended Edition trilogy and Shark Boy Lava.
Oh shoot.
I mean, Lord of the Rings doesn't have the 3D effects that
That's
Shark
true.
Boy Lava Girl
I
does.
guess
true.
you're right. You
And
got that's
if we're ever gonna talk about that, it's got to be for like a really special occasion. That has to be like a big deal. Like if we talk about that on the podcast.
Shark Boy Lava Girl.
Yeah, it's such a special movie. It deserves a special episode for it.
It's pretty good.
It's
pretty
good. Anyways, not War of the Rohirrim, but
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yep.
anything you guys need to plug or want to say?
Yeah, and go. I'll have a review on my channel. You can go watch a review on my channel. It'll be filled with lots of love and affection for this film.
Yep. Probably not.
No, probably
not. Seth, anything you want to say?
I-
Closing thoughts?
I don't think I got nothing.
What about you, HM?
Except that I
Oop.
never mind.
No.
You're gonna say something. You're gonna say something.
Well, I mean, I don't have a wife yet. I'm looking.
Plugging that in.
Are you sure this is the best place to search for one?
No.
But hey, might as well try.
Might as
You
well.
You know, it just yeah.
So, HM, what about
What
you?
you got?
We're not talking about my relationship status, right? Okay.
Oh man, my face hurts.
Oh. Well, thank you for listening. If you're still here, we'll come back. We'll be making more episodes about
Yep.
movies and stuff. Maybe good ones.
Probably not
next
Red
time.
One. Maybe Moana 2.
Yeah. Maybe Monkey Wrench soon.
Maybe Monkey Wrench.
So
Sonic 3.
Sonic 3 is pretty likely, actually.
Yeah.
Sonic 3 is pretty likely. I've not seen the first two.
Neither have I.
For Shadow the Hedgehog, I will go.
He's got a gun. I've got tickets.
He's got everything he has in the games. I'm in. I'm ready. So keep an eye out. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.